Chapter 54:14. After leaving the city, the carriage rose into the air and sped up. 2 hours later, they arrived at their destination. The hunting ground was in a primeval forest. It was extremely large. It was also extremely dangerous. There were terrifying beasts everywhere. Hunting and being hunted seemed to be the main theme here. These aristocratic clan disciples were born with a spoon in their mouths. So in their lives, they couldn't understand what it meant to struggle. They liked to find exciting things to make themselves happy. Perhaps, the method in front of him was a good one. The beast carriage stopped on top of a mountain peak. It was halfway up the mountain. There was a platform there. The carriage stopped on the platform. Quite a few people had already gathered on the platform. "They're here." At that moment, a cultivator said. Then a group of people walked towards the carriage. When they arrived at the carriage, Lin Feng, Xianyuan Ruhan, and Xiao Zichen had just gotten off the carriage. "Fairy Ruhan, long time no see." "Fairy Ruhan, it's been a few years, but you're still as elegant as ever." More and more people came to greet Xianyuan Ruhan. It seemed that quite a few people knew her. "Greetings, gentlemen." Xianyuan Ruhan smiled charmingly. Her appearance could really make people fall head over heels for her. She really was a top-quality woman. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Not all of these people were Xianyuan Ruhan's admirers. But Lin Feng had a feeling that there were a few people. They should be Xianyuan Ruhan's admirers. Xianyuan Ruhan didn't lack admirers. Perhaps every ancient city and every major power had her admirers. After all, Xianyuan Ruhan's status was there. On top of that, she was also a goddess-level existence. The number of people chasing after her was probably enough to circle the entire eastern region. Now, because many people had come to watch the battle between the Red World Fairy and Qi Ningtian, many of these admirers had come to Xianwen City. Lin Feng guessed that the main purpose of today's gathering wasn't to invite Xianyuan Ruhan. It was to invite him. Xiao Zichen had invited these people to give him a show of strength. This was something that Xiao Zichen had already planned beforehand. However, Xiao Zichen didn't expect that when he went to look for Xianyuan Ruhan today, he would see himself and Xianyuan Ruhan so intimate. He reckoned that Xiao Zichen was incomparably enraged and wished he could kill him. At this moment, someone looked at Lin Feng. He then said, "Brother, you don't look familiar. How should I address you?" "Lin Feng." "So it's Brother Lin. May I know which power is behind Brother Lin?" Someone else said. "Rogue Cultivator," Lin Feng said. "Oh? Rogue Cultivator? Brother Lin, you're quite capable. You're an independent cultivator, and you're Miss Ruhan's friend." Miss Ruhan doesn't have an independent cultivator as a friend because before Brother Lin, Miss Ruhan's friends were all from noble families. The other cultivator said with a smile. Lin Feng could naturally tell that this aristocratic family's descendant was scolding him for his lowly status, cursing without using any vulgarities. He was also a sharp-tongued guy. Aristocratic families' descendants are all noble? This is the first time I've heard of this. I have many great powers under me, and those aristocratic families' descendants are all my slaves. Lin Feng said indifferently. "Kid, what did you say?" Immediately, a few people's expressions turned unsightly. "I said that aristocratic families' descendants are all my slaves." Lin Feng shrugged. Xianyuan Ruhan immediately grew excited. Lin Feng really wasn't afraid of offending people. The more he was like this, the more excited Xianyuan Ruhan became. His shield acted forcefully. This was what it meant to be happy. It seemed that he hadn't found the wrong shield. "Do you know how many people you've humiliated? Do you know what the consequences of your words will be? Know your place. How dare you boast so shamelessly? Who gave you the guts?" Many people spoke up one after another. Their voices were very gloomy. Moreover, they were cold. Lin Feng said, "What's wrong, everyone? I know that you're all aristocratic families' descendants, but I didn't say that you're my slaves. I said that the aristocratic family's descendants are my slaves, so please don't misunderstand." How could the aristocratic family's descendants not understand that Lin Feng was indirectly insulting them? Actually, Lin Feng meant that they were only worthy of being his slaves. But now that Lin Feng didn't admit it, they were furious. At that moment, he said, "Brothers, there's been some misunderstanding between you and Brother Lin. Please don't overthink it. Brother Lin is a straightforward person, but he doesn't have any evil intentions. Just now, we all misunderstood him." The others looked gloomy, but they didn't say anything else. At that moment, a young man said, "Since we're all here to play, why don't we start playing now?" "Sure, I can't wait to practice," said a young man. At this time, a young master said, "What do you want to play?" "Count me in," said Xian Yuan Rehan. "Hunting," said a young man. "That's good. I like it," said Xian Yuan Rehan. "Brother Lin, do you want to participate?" asked Xiao Zichen, looking at Lin Feng. "Of course." Lin Feng nodded. At that moment, a young man said, "Just hunting is boring. Why don't we bet on something? That way, we'll be more competitive, and the hunt will be more exciting." "What are we betting on?" asked Xiao Zichen. "How about treasures?" asked Xian Yuan Rehan. One of the young men shook his head and said, "We don't lack treasures, so there's no point in betting on treasures. How about this? The loser will strip naked and run around Xianwen City." Pfft. When she heard that, Xian Yuan Rehan choked. Then she said, "Then I'll withdraw. You guys can continue." "Brother Lin, do you dare to bet?" asked one of the young men, looking at Lin Feng. Everyone looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel speechless. Because Lin Feng could roughly guess what they were thinking. These people wanted to defeat him during the hunt. And then, he would run around Xianwen City naked. When the time came, he would lose all face. Once that happened, as far as they were concerned, he and Xian Yuan Rehan would be finished. Of course, this kind of gamble was very childish. But it was also very sinister. "All right, I'll bet with you," said Lin Feng. When they heard Lin Feng agree, the group laughed. Clearly, these people thought that Lin Feng would definitely lose. "Pass down the order. In 15 minutes, release the prey," said Xiao Zichen. "Release the prey," said Xiao Zichen to a servant. "Yes, young master," said the servant. The servant replied and then quickly left to pass on the order. "There are bows and arrows here." "Of course, you can use your own," said one of the young men. "I'll use my own bow," said Lin Feng. "There are mounts here, all kinds of mounts." "Of course, if you don't like them, you can also use your own mounts," that young man continued. Lin Feng nodded. "Later, we must kill everyone and trample those fellows under our feet." Xian Yuan Rehan came to Lin Feng's side and said. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Don't you have confidence in me?" Xian Yuan Rehan knew that Lin Feng was powerful. She smiled and said, "Of course I have confidence. Those self-righteous fellows think that they have you." A quarter of an hour passed quickly. Many cages were opened on the mountain peak. Now, those cages were opened. Many people were chained and handcuffed, and they were chased out. End of chapter. Chapter 54-15. After seeing the people who had been chased out, Lin Feng's expression became extremely gloomy. So many people had been chased out. Could it be that the prey was those people? "What is the meaning of this?" Lin Feng asked. "Those people are the prey. Haven't you participated in this kind of hunt before?" Lin Feng's expression was a bit ugly. This kind of hunt was too cruel. Not to mention participating in it. Lin Feng had never even heard of this kind of hunt before. Lin Feng's expression was naturally very ugly. As long as there was a bit of kindness in his heart. How could he participate in this kind of hunt? "Xiao Zichen, aren't you guys too perverted? How could you treat so many fresh lives as prey? This is too cruel," Xian Yuan Rehan said coldly. This was also her first time seeing this kind of hunt. Now she was shocked. Her inner world. In the end, she was still kind. So, she couldn't accept all of this. Xiao Zichen said. Sister Ruhan, don't be angry. This is also my first time coming to this kind of place, so I'm not particularly clear about it. Lin Feng wouldn't believe Xiao Zichen's words. Xian Yuan Ruhan probably wouldn't believe it either. Xiao Zichen was a very sinister person. However, he still had to pretend to be a good person. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Just as Xiao Zichen and Xian Yuan Ruhan were talking, someone had already drawn their bow and shot arrows. The speed of the arrows was extremely fast. One arrow after another quickly flew over. Pooh! 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 Along with the sound of tearing, the fleeing criminals were shot through by the arrows. They died on the spot. A woman was shot to death, her corpse falling to the ground. Her daughter was only 4 or 5 years old. As she cried, she shouted, "Mother! Mother!" She really hoped that her mother would wake up. However, her mother would never wake up again. The reason for that was because her mother had completely fallen asleep. Pooh! In the next moment, a magic arrow pierced through the girl's head. Ha 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 ha, my archery skills are pretty good, right? The young master who killed the little girl was riding a huge dragon and had already flown into the air. He said with a laugh. Ha 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 ha, my archery skills are pretty good, right? After killing the little girl with a single arrow, he appeared to be somewhat pleased with himself. Sun Chu, you're too strong, Xian Yuan Ruhan said coldly. Miss Ruhan, many people in your clan also like to play these games. Do you know that? The young master called Sun Chu said. Impossible, Xian Yuan Ruhan said. Sun Chu smiled indifferently and said, Nothing is impossible. This world is cruel, and everything is possible in this world. Actually, you might not know this, but all the nobles like to play this game. Because killing ferocious beasts is really boring. Only killing criminals with thoughts is interesting. Don't you think you've gone too far? Xian Yuan Ruhan said coldly. Said a young master called Zhou Liang. There's nothing too far about it. The rules of the world of cultivators have changed everything. Besides, these people offended many powerful groups and were captured after their families were destroyed. What awaits them is a death sentence. Since they're going to die anyway, they're going to become our prey. At least they're going to have some value. Let's not talk about this anymore. The hunt has begun. Let's start the feast of slaughter. Whoever kills the least will be the loser, said a young master. At this moment, a young master said. Similarly, he summoned his mount and mounted it, intending to hunt down those criminals. What should we do? Asked Xian Yuan Ruhan anxiously, looking at Lin Feng. But now, she had already lost her mind. She didn't know whether to persuade Lin Feng to attack or not to persuade Lin Feng not to attack. If he attacked, it would be too cruel. If he didn't attack, Lin Feng would lose the competition. Lin Feng patted Xian Yuan Ruhan's hand and said, Don't worry. Leave it to me. Xiao Zichen sneered inwardly. He didn't believe that Lin Feng had a way to emerge victorious. Because the methods of those young masters were very extraordinary. They had joined forces to bully Lin Feng. When the time came, Lin Feng wouldn't be able to kill much prey. But at that moment, said Lin Feng. Everybody, please wait, said Lin Feng. What? Do you have anything else to say? Could it be that you want to beg for mercy? If you do that, it'll save us a lot of effort. One cultivator after another spoke. These young men were all smiling coldly while looking at Lin Feng. They felt that, Lin Feng, he was definitely going to play some tricks. Said Lin Feng. I won't beg for mercy, but I want to change the way of the competition. Said Lin Feng. Change the competition? What kind of competition do you want? Asked Zhou Liang. Lin Feng said. The time limit is 1 incense stick's worth of time. Within 1 incense stick's worth of time, all of you, go and kill those criminals. I'll protect them. If you kill more people than there are survivors, I'll lose. Hearing Lin Feng's words, the group of people couldn't help but frown. They were pondering the feasibility of Lin Feng's words. Lin Feng said, What? Are you afraid? That's true, after all, your abilities are limited. Brat, what are you talking about? Hearing Lin Feng say that their abilities were limited, a few young masters glared at Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, "Am I wrong? Your provocation is very clumsy, but we can fulfill your wish. We'll bet with you." At that moment, a young master said. Lin Feng smiled and said, "That's good." Then, Lin Feng took out the Hui Bao. At that moment, the young masters all rode their mounts towards the escaping criminals. Yixian didn't ride a mount. Instead, he stood in place. He coldly watched as the young masters rode their mounts away. "What is this guy trying to do?" Xiao Zichen couldn't help but frown. He didn't know what Lin Feng was trying to do. If he wanted to stop those young masters, he should at least ride his mount and chase after them, right? However, Lin Feng didn't do that, which made him very confused. The distance between the two sides was increasing. How was he going to stop them later? Xiao Zichen wasn't the only one who was confused. Even Xian Yuan Rohan was very confused. She didn't know what Lin Feng was trying to do. The disciples of the rich and influential families turned their heads and looked at Lin Feng mockingly. From their point of view, they were certain that Lin Feng would be defeated. But at that moment, Lin Feng took out many arrows. Then, he drew his bow and shot. Swoosh, 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 one after another, magic arrows flew out at high speed. Those arrows, they quickly shot towards the young master's mounts. "Lin Feng, what the hell are you doing?" The group of young masters couldn't help but roar angrily. They wanted to ride their mounts to avoid Lin Feng's arrows, but they couldn't. One mount after another was killed by Lin Feng. The furious group of young masters all flew towards Lin Feng, their eyes spitting fire. They looked like they wanted nothing more than to kill Lin Feng. Xian Yuan Rohan was also stunned. She really hadn't expected Lin Feng to kill their mounts. But then, Xian Yuan Rohan's eyes twinkled. Lin Feng was insane. She liked it. End of Chapter 1. Chapter 54:16. Old Steam Bun's new book, Devouring the Heavens, had already released more than 20 chapters of content. Many readers would scold him for writing a new book. If he wrote a new book, there would be less updates for the old book. Old Steam Bun explained why he wrote a new book. Firstly, it was because he had written 11 million words and was already in the later stages. Many holes had to be filled up. There was no way to write as quickly as before. Because he wrote too quickly, Old Steam Bun was also worried that the later content would be unworthy of everyone's support. Secondly, it was because he needed to support his family. Everyone should know that Old Steam Bun had just had a baby at home, and the pressure on his life had suddenly increased. All kinds of expenses pressured Old Steam Bun until he couldn't breathe. Old Steam Bun had to earn money. Therefore, Old Steam Bun needed to start a new book and write both books together. Update plan. Archaic Dragonesque Elephant Art, 5 updates a day. Devouring the Heavens, 3 updates a day during the new book period. Add updates according to different situations. I hope that everyone will support Old Steam Bun's Devouring the Heavens. Now you can search for Devouring the Heavens on QQ Reading and add it to your bookshelf. Brothers who use QQ Bookstore on their phones will have to wait patiently for a few days. Because of the New Year's holiday, the editor is still on holiday. When they come back from the holiday, they will change their contract status and be able to search for the book Devouring the Heavens on their phones on QQ. I hope that brothers from all channels can download QQ Reading and add Devouring the Heavens to your bookshelf. During the free period, I need everyone's support for the new book's results to be better. After downloading QQ Reading, there will be free recommendation tickets and you can vote for Devouring the Heavens every day. Old Steam Bun thanked everyone for their support. 2019. I wish everyone a happy and happy life. Be healthy and happy. Sogu Reading Website. Chapter 54:17. A group of people rushed over and surrounded Lin Feng. Shou Liang said coldly, "Do you know how precious our mounts are? You actually dared to kill our mounts. Can you afford to pay us back?" Lin Feng asked. Are your mounts expensive? They look very ordinary to me. The corners of their mouths twitched violently. Of course, their mounts were expensive. Even the cheapest mount was worth 10 million high-grade immortal stones. The most expensive mount was worth 80 million high-grade immortal stones. Even if they were from aristocratic clans. However, that many immortal stones was not a small sum to them. Thus, when they heard Lin Feng say that their mounts were expensive, they were infuriated. They were almost angered to death. They wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into 8 pieces. Sun Chu said, "My mount is worth 50 million high-grade immortal stones. Lin Feng, you killed my mount. You have to pay me back. My mount is worth 30 million high-grade immortal stones. My mount is worth 20 million high-grade immortal stones. My mount is worth 80 million high-grade immortal stones. My mount is worth 40 million high-grade immortal stones." A group of young masters surrounded Lin Feng and demanded compensation from Lin Feng. Xiao Zichen looked at Lin Feng with a mocking expression. Lin Feng was in big trouble now. He had killed so many mounts. These young masters, how could they let Lin Feng off so easily? However, Xiao Zichen acted as if this matter did not concern him. He was just waiting to watch the show. Lin Feng said, "Isn't it just a dozen or so mounts that died? How many immortal stones is that? You are all direct descendants of a top-tier aristocratic clan. Is there a need to be so flustered and exasperated over a few million high-grade immortal stones? Those who don't know might think that you're a bunch of paupers." When they heard Lin Feng's words, the group's mouths couldn't help but twitch violently. Their mounts had been killed by Lin Feng, and Lin Feng was still mocking them for being a bunch of paupers. This was truly intolerable. Zhou Liang sneered. "Stop bragging. Just tell me if you can compensate us for the cost of our mounts. Of course, I didn't say that I wouldn't pay. For you, a few million is indeed a lot, but in my eyes, it's just a drop in the ocean. After all, people at your level really can't understand the quality of life of people at my level," Lin Feng said indifferently. His words were filled with contempt and disdain for this group of people. The group of young masters were so angry that they were trembling all over. What kind of status did they have? Now, they were being belittled by Lin Feng again and again. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Feng owed them immortal stones, they would be worried that after teaching Lin Feng a lesson, they would be in trouble. Lin Feng reneged on his debt and refused to return the immortal stones. They had already made their move. "Don't talk so much nonsense. Hurry up and return the immortal stones to us," a young master said in exasperation. "All right, line up one by one," Lin Feng said. "Give it to me first." "My mount is worth 50 million, a young master said. "What mount is it?" Lin Feng asked. "The Ice Crystal Beast is my mount," the young master said. "Ice Crystal Beast? Hee, a mount worth 20 million, and you want 50 million? Lin Feng sneered, then took out 20 million and handed it over. Damn! That young master couldn't help but curse gloomily. He had originally wanted to extort some money from Lin Feng. Who would have thought that Lin Feng would be so shrewd? Lin Feng began to give these people their mounts. Many of them were quite happy after exchanging their mounts. They had long wanted to change their mounts. But their mounts couldn't be used. They didn't have enough immortal stones to buy new mounts. Lin Feng had killed their mounts. Now, he had compensated them with immortal stones. Now they could go buy new mounts. After compensating the last person, Lin Feng looked at Xian Yuan Ruhan. He asked, "Has it been an incense stick's worth of time?" "It's here." Xian Yuan Ruhan giggled. A devilish expression hung on her beautiful face. Hearing Lin Feng and Xian Yuan Ruhan's conversation, the young master's expressions turned ugly. They finally understood. They knew why Lin Feng had killed their mounts. Because Lin Feng knew that with just him alone, it was impossible to stop so many of them from hunting the escaped prisoners. But, now that Lin Feng had killed their mounts, things were different. After Lin Feng killed their mounts, they would be furious. They would come looking for trouble with Lin Feng. At that time, they would haggle over compensation. Because of this matter, everyone actually forgot that the bet was still in place. When they came back to their senses, it was too late. You cheated, Sun Chu said. His expression was gloomy. What did I cheat? Are you unwilling to admit defeat? Lin Feng asked. Yes, you cheated. If you hadn't cheated, how could we have lost to you? Sun Chu said coldly. I killed your mounts. You could have flown to hunt. You were the ones who took the initiative to surround me. How can you blame me for that? Lin Feng shrugged. Xian Yuanren chimed in. That's right, that's right. Lin Feng didn't kill your mounts on purpose. His archery wasn't accurate. Therefore, if I accidentally shot your mounts, you can ask Lin Feng for compensation. You lost the competition. Don't try to find excuses for yourself. That's not what a man should do, said Lin Feng. Shameless, shameless. The group was extremely depressed. In their eyes, Lin Feng and Xian Yuan Rohan were a pair of shameless villains working together. They could come up with any excuse they wanted. The group was furious. They were so angry that they were trembling. Zhou Liang said, Let's go. Ignore this kid. As Zhou Liang spoke, he wanted to soar into the sky and take the lead in leaving. Lin Feng sneered. You want to leave after losing the competition? How can there be such a good thing in the world? Stay here. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng raised his right hand and slapped at Zhou Liang. A huge energy hand condensed in the air and shot towards Zhou Liang. When he saw the energy hand, Zhou Liang's expression changed abruptly. However, Zhou Liang wasn't a simple person. He faced Lin Feng's energy hand and slapped it. Bang! Both sides attacked. They collided fiercely. Zhou Liang's attack was destroyed in an instant. Then, Lin Feng's powerful attack landed on Zhou Liang's body. Zhou Liang was sent flying by Lin Feng. Pfft! Zhou Liang coughed up blood. His face was as white as a sheet. Thump! Zhou Liang fell to the ground in a sorry state. He had just gotten up when he fell to the ground again. Sogyu. Chapter 54:18. Brat, how could you injure him so badly? You've gone too far. Even though some people were criticizing Lin Feng. That's right. If you have something to say, we can talk calmly. What's the meaning of injuring him like this? Do you think we're easy to bully? There are so many of us. Do you think we're afraid of you? One by one, the young masters said coldly. These young masters, they were all infuriated by Lin Feng. This was because they were like grasshoppers on the same rope as Zhou Liang. Now, Zhou Liang was beaten half to death. It was no different from slapping their faces. Moreover, Lin Feng obviously wanted to keep them here. The group of people was naturally infuriated. They knew what Lin Feng's goal was. He wanted them to go streaking. How could they possibly do something like that? If they went streaking in Xianwen City, the upper echelons of their families would kill them when they returned. Originally, they wanted to scheme against Lin Feng. But now they were the ones who were in trouble. But what could they do? However, the group of people did not intend to abide by the bet. As the saying went, the law could not punish the majority. With so many of them, they were not afraid of Lin Feng alone. Even if they publicly reneged on the bet, what could Lin Feng do? Could it be that Lin Feng could defeat all of them by himself? Lin Feng rolled his eyes and said, This guy publicly reneged on the bet. Since that's the case, I'll have to exercise my rights. What rights do you have? The group of young masters asked doubtfully. If anyone publicly reneges on the bet, I can beat him half to death. Moreover, I can punish him as I wish, Lin Feng said. Hearing Lin Feng's words, the group of people's mouths twitched violently. Sun Chu said coldly, When did we have such an agreement? I just added it, Lin Feng said. F***CK. When we agreed on the bet, we didn't say that we could casually add conditions, a young master said angrily. Lin Feng replied, I didn't say that I couldn't add any conditions. The group of young masters almost suffered internal injuries from Lin Feng's words. Xian Yuan Rohan was rocking back and forth with laughter. She said, Lin Feng, You're really something. You're really bad, but I like it, Lin Feng said. Even if you like me, don't be so direct in front of these people. Let's go home and talk about it in my room. Fuck you. Xianyuan Ruhan blushed and spat at Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled. He looked at the group of young masters and said, Everyone, don't force me to make a move. Take off your clothes and run naked in Xianwen City. We definitely won't do that. The group of young masters said coldly. Are you all intending to go against the terms of the bet? Lin Feng sneered. So what if I am? Can you do anything to us? Someone replied with a sneer. They directly ignored Lin Feng. They had the advantage in numbers, so they didn't think much of Lin Feng at all. Since that's the case, I can only beat you half to death, Lin Feng said indifferently. With just you? The group of young masters looked at Lin Feng mockingly. They had to admit that Lin Feng was a pretty strong cultivator. However, no matter how strong he was, he couldn't possibly deal with so many of them alone, right? The group of young masters was fearless. Lin Feng sneered and directly released his 15-fold domineering magnetic field. First, he would reduce their combat power by 50%. The domineering magnetic field attacked indiscriminately. When the 15-fold domineering magnetic field enveloped the group, the expressions of the group of people changed drastically. Even Xiao Zichen's expression couldn't help but change slightly. Clearly, before this, he hadn't expected Lin Feng to have such a powerful move. The 15-fold domineering magnetic field didn't just reduce the opponent's combat power. It could also suppress speed, reaction speed, perception, and so on. Of course, the greatest impact on a cultivator should be a blow to their confidence. Once one's self-confidence was damaged, it was a very fatal thing. Amazing! Lin Feng, you actually have so many tricks up your sleeve! Xianyuan Ruhan couldn't help but exclaim. Actually, she wasn't very clear about Lin Feng's methods. The only thing she knew was that Lin Feng was very strong. Now, this kind of ability to suppress people's cultivation indiscriminately was truly heaven-defying. Door of everlasting life, suppress! Lin Feng attacked. He condensed the illusory door of everlasting life. The illusory door of everlasting life descended from the sky, suppressing the group of young masters. The group of young masters had extraordinary backgrounds, but they weren't like spoiled brats. They were actually very talented, and their strength was extremely terrifying. When they saw Lin Feng condense the illusory door of everlasting life, they all attacked. One by one, the group of young masters attacked. They used all kinds of attacks to attack the illusory door of everlasting life. Bang! 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 However, a series of violent collisions were heard. Those powerful divine abilities were all destroyed. They couldn't cause any damage to the illusory door of everlasting life at all. Because under the influence of the domineering magnetic field, Lin Feng's battle strength would be greatly reduced. The other party's battle strength would be greatly reduced. One side would be weakened while the other side would be strengthened. The gap was getting bigger and bigger. This battle. Naturally, it was a one-sided result. Lin Feng, do you really want to offend so many of us? You have to consider the families behind us. If you go too far, you will have to bear the wrath of our families, Sun Chu said angrily. This guy wanted to threaten Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng wasn't afraid of Sun Chu's threat at all. Lin Feng said indifferently. When I came to this world, I was worried that there wouldn't be enough enemies. Since you want to be enemies with me, it's just what I want. I'm never afraid of enemies. The more enemies there are, the better. Because these enemies are destined to be my stepping stones. Lin Feng's words were truly incomparably domineering. Even Xianyuan Ruhan felt a sense of dizziness. I met the right person. A few words suddenly appeared in Xianyuan Ruhan's mind. Following that, her heartbeat suddenly sped up. Her pretty face couldn't help but blush a little. Bang! 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 At this time, the illusory door of everlasting life pressed down. The group of young masters couldn't withstand the pressure of the illusory door of everlasting life. Flop, flop, flop. Then, the group of young masters all knelt on the ground. Ah! You've gone too far. These young masters' eyes were all blood-red as they glared at Lin Feng. Their eyes flashed with dense killing intent. If looks could kill. These young masters had already used their eyes to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. Lin Feng didn't care whether these young masters hated him or not. He sneered and said, "I'm bullying you guys. Who asked you to be so weak?" Pfft. A few young masters were so angry that they vomited blood from anger at Lin Feng. Please remember the domain name of this book, mobile version of reading website. Chapter 5419. I say, aren't you all a little too interested in this? What kind of hobby can't you have? You actually like to spit out blood when you have nothing better to do. I really admire you for being able to spit out 3 liters of blood and still look so lively. Lin Feng cupped his fists at the young masters who were still spitting out blood. Pfft. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the people who had stopped spitting out blood once again started coughing up blood. As for the young masters who hadn't spat out blood before, after hearing Lin Feng's words, they felt the urge to spit out blood as well. Xiao Zichen said, "Brother Lin, we're all friends here. Don't you think you've gone too far by humiliating us like this?" Xiao Zichen was clearly pretending to be a good person. He was trying to mediate the situation. However, he wasn't personally involved. He was just a bystander the entire time. This fellow was truly an extremely intelligent fellow. He had completely removed himself from the situation. No matter which side was in trouble, it had nothing to do with him. Xiao Zichen wanted to play dirty. Lin Feng wanted to play dirty with him. Lin Feng said, "Brother Xiao, it's not that I don't want to give you face, but you've seen it for yourself. These people openly disobeyed the terms of the bet, which is why things have turned out this way. You can't blame me for this, right?" Xiao Zichen had long since cursed Lin Feng in his heart. However, he couldn't show it on the surface. He said, "The previous bet was actually a little thoughtless, but no one calmed down enough to think about it. Brother Lin, you know that they're all reputable people. If they really run naked in Xianwen City, it won't just be them who'll lose face. It'll also include their clan's faces. At that time, their lives will be over. Brother Lin, how about you give me some face and find a compromise to deal with this matter?" Lin Feng smiled. "Since Brother Xiao brought this up, I must give you face. However, even if I give you face, I don't know if these people will accept your kindness." "I believe they will," Xiao Zichen said with a fake smile. "All right, since that's the case, we'll follow Brother Zhao's suggestion and find a compromise to deal with this matter," Lin Feng said with a smile. Hearing this, the group of young masters couldn't help but let out a long sigh. They were finally able to relax a little. Because she didn't need to run naked anymore. If he really went to Xianwen City to run naked, it would be better to just kill them. "I wonder how Brother Lin plans to deal with them?" Xiao Zichen asked. "They're all young masters of aristocratic families with extraordinary backgrounds. They're all extremely wealthy. Unlike me, who has just entered this world and is a rogue cultivator. My greatest wish is to have my own house in the city." Lin Feng sighed and said, making himself sound extremely pitiful. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the group of people simply wanted to curse out loud. Lin Feng was rich. He was too rich. It was the high-grade immortal stones that were paid to them as compensation for killing their mounts. Lin Feng took out close to 1 billion high-grade immortal stones. He didn't even blink. These young masters didn't know exactly how rich Lin Feng was. However, now, Lin Feng was actually crying about being poor in front of them. They should be the ones crying about being poor, right? The group of young masters wailed in their hearts, but they didn't dare to say anything. Lin Feng looked at the group of young masters and revealed a smile that he thought was very handsome. When Xian Yuan Ruhan saw Lin Feng's smile, she felt that it was a demonic smile. She couldn't help but mutter to herself. She didn't know how Lin Feng was going to deal with these people. But she could imagine. When the time came, it would definitely make them go crazy. Lin Feng said, "Tell your servants to go back and tell them that if you want to regain your freedom, your families will need to pay immortal stones to redeem you. 1,000,000,000 high-grade immortal stones for each of you. If your families don't pay, I'll beat you half to death, strip you naked, throw you into prison wagons, and parade you through the streets of Xianwen City. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the group of young masters almost fainted. 1,000,000,000 high-grade immortal stones. That was too much. They had never seen so many high-grade immortal stones in their lives. Lin Feng actually asked for 1,000,000,000 high-grade immortal stones. He really dared to ask for that. 1,000,000,000 per person. 14 people will be 14,000,000,000 high-grade immortal stones. Lin Feng, do I have a share? Xian Yuan Ruhan was instantly excited. She stared at Lin Feng with her big eyes. Of course. Lin Feng smiled. Lin Feng, you're going too far. Killing people is nothing. We don't have any immortal stones. Just kill us. One of the young masters said fiercely. Fine. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Feng sneered. He raised his right hand. He was going to kill this young master. The young master's expression changed greatly. He didn't really care about his life. He was just a bit stubborn. When he saw that Lin Feng was really going to kill him, the young master cried out in terror. Spare me! Spare me! I don't want to die! I don't want to die! Coward! Lin Feng couldn't help but curse. Xian Yuan Ruhan laughed. Lin Feng, you really do have the innate quality of a villain. You're basically a heinous villain who bullies the weak. Ha ha! Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. Kind people get bullied. Kind horses get ridden. But before you bully others, you have to see if you have the ability to do so. Don't let others use you like a tool. When he heard Lin Feng say this, Xiao Zichen couldn't help but frown slightly. A few of the young masters were also pondering the meaning of Lin Feng's words. Lin Feng looked at the young master's servants and said, Go inform their clans to come and ransom them. The servants didn't dare hesitate. They hurriedly left. Lin Feng cast a restriction and directly sealed these fellows. Although the group of young masters didn't continue to kneel on the ground, because they were sealed by Lin Feng, they stood in place and couldn't move. If someone wanted to save them, at that time, the restriction would launch a counterattack. At this moment, the guards of the hunting ground caught all the escaped prisoners. They caught a total of more than 300 prisoners. The boss of the hunting ground was a middle-aged man. To be able to open a hunting ground, his background was definitely not simple. The boss of the hunting ground had seen everything that had happened before. The boss of the hunting ground knew that Lin Feng wasn't someone to be trifled with. When he came to Lin Feng, he cupped his fists and said, Lin Gongzi, let me introduce myself. This humble one is called Wang Yu, the boss of the hunting ground. Hello, Boss Wang. Lin Feng cupped his fists in return. According to the rules of the hunting ground, the person who spent the money is the master of the slaves. Previously, the slaves that were released were basically shot to death, and their remains were taken care of by the hunting ground. But this time, only a portion of them were shot to death, and more than 300 survived. How would you like to deal with them, young master? Wan Yu asked. Sogu's website. Chapter 5420. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. He hadn't thought about this before. The reason why he saved those people was because Lin Feng had a kind heart. He didn't want to see them being shot like animals. That was a human life. Not a beast's life. A human life shouldn't be so cheap. Lin Feng had always maintained a kind heart. In the world of cultivators, this seemed to be a rather stupid thing. But so what? Lin Feng didn't care. Lin Feng felt that he should follow his heart and do things. It was as if he was doing his best to help those people. Perhaps if he did this, he would be scolded as a hypocrite, a saint, or something like that. Let those people say whatever they want. Wang Yu saw that Lin Feng was deep in thought. He knew that Lin Feng didn't know how to deal with these people. Wang Yu said, Young master, do you not know how to deal with these people? If you feel that it's difficult, you can sell them to our hunting ground. When the time comes, we will definitely give you a more reasonable price. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He asked, when the time comes, they will still become prey. They will become targets for others to hunt. Am I right? After hearing Lin Feng's words, Wan Yu fell silent. Lin Feng was right. The situation was indeed like this. Although it sounded cruel, but this world was just that cruel. Bloody dark. It was filled with death and killing. Lin Feng said, I want to see them. Sure, Wan Yu said. Those slaves were all at the foot of the mountain, being watched by a group of guards. Many people's faces were pale, and they looked terrified. Lin Feng looked at Xianyuan Ruhan. She asked, Are you coming too? Xianyuan Ruhan nodded. Accompanied by Wan Yu, she flew down the mountain with Lin Feng. Very soon, they arrived at the foot of the mountain. Seeing those sallow and emaciated slaves with ragged clothes, Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. In the world of cultivators, there were too many people like them. His fate was incomparably tragic, and it made people feel extremely pitiful. Sometimes fate was such a bastard. People couldn't help but want to curse out loud. But life had to go on. I can give you your freedom, Lin Feng said. Those people looked at Lin Feng. There was no desire for freedom in his eyes. There was only confusion. And the fear of the unknown. Freedom is too extravagant for them. They can't live alone, Wan Yu said. Lin Feng could not help but frown slightly. He couldn't help but ponder. In fact, Lin Feng also felt that Wan Yu's words were very reasonable. These people. He really couldn't survive on his own. Especially in the world where time was reversed, they had no money and could not enter the ancient city. They could only live outside. However, when the darkness came, how many people could survive in the darkness? Perhaps. He only needed one night. These people. They would die one after another. Sir, if we leave them here, they might be able to live a little longer, Wan Yu said. Xianyuan Ruhan said. Our peerless cliff will accept these people. Peerless cliff will accept them? Lin Feng looked at Xianyuan Ruhan. Xianyuan Ruhan said. Of course, our peerless cliff's business is so big that we need some servants everywhere. We can arrange for them to be servants in the various businesses or shops under Peerless Cliff. Although it will be a little tough, it is still a livelihood, Lin Feng said. That's great. After the slaves heard the conversation between Lin Feng and Xianyuan Ruhan, they revealed expressions of disbelief. Were they going to welcome a new life? Originally, their eyes were lifeless. But now, it was different. Their eyes gradually lit up. Because they saw hope. What was the most terrifying thing in life? Sometimes it might not be death. But there was no hope. Without hope, one would live like a walking corpse. Only with hope. Only then would one be able to live with a goal. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and thank Lin Gongzi and Fairy Xianyuan, Wan Yu said. Thank you, Lin Gongzi and Fairy Xianyuan. Bodhisattva bless you. Good people will be rewarded. The group of people knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Lin Feng and Xianyuan Ruhan. Get up, Lin Feng said. After hearing Lin Feng's words, they got up one by one. Boss Wang, I'll have to trouble you to make arrangements for them. When we leave, we'll bring them back with us. Lin Feng looked at Wan Yu. Don't worry, sir. I'll make arrangements for them. Now I'll have someone bring them to the restaurant for a meal, Wan Yu said. That's good too. Lin Feng nodded. Then, he and Xianyuan Ruhan returned to the platform on the mountain. Xianyuan Ruhan said, You're different from others. How am I different? Lin Feng asked. You like making trouble for yourself, Xianyuan Ruhan said. Lin Feng said, I don't like it. Xianyuan Ruhan said. If you don't like it, why do you have to do it? Lin Feng said. I don't want to see blood. That's a really lame reason. Xianyuan Ruhan pursed her lips. Lin Feng didn't say anything else. He found a place to close his eyes and rest. Those people's families. They weren't good people. When the time came, how could they give in so easily? Lin Feng had to adjust his state of mind. Then, he had to deal with all kinds of sudden changes. At the same time, the servants brought the news back. The powers behind those young masters often had businesses in a huge ancient city like Xianwen City. Moreover, their businesses weren't small, so they all had offices. Normally, there would be at least an elder-level existence in the main city. So, when the forces behind them found out about the whole story, they were shocked. They were so angry that their bodies trembled. Preposterous! They've gone too far. The higher-ups were furious. Then, they brought people and charged out of the city. At that moment, a piece of news quickly spread through Xianwen City under the influence of some people with intentions. More than 10 young masters from top-tier powers had made a bet with someone. In the end, they lost the bet and were extorted for 1 billion high-tier immortal stones. The identities of those young masters were also exposed. Some of them were from top-tier powers. When the news spread, it caused a huge uproar. Some people went to the powers where those young masters were from to find out more. On the way, they saw the experts of those powers leading people out. This matter was basically confirmed. Thus, the news spread faster and faster, wider and wider. Many people formed groups and rushed out. Clearly, they wanted to go and watch the show. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 5421. They're here. Lin Feng opened his eyes. Xianyuan Ruhan looked into the distance. Sure enough, she saw many people flying over. Xianyuan Ruhan immediately became excited. She said, "Once you get the immortal stones, run away. These guys won't be able to do anything to you." "Isn't that exciting?" Lin Feng smiled. "It sounds exciting, but I won't run away. I'll fight against strong cultivators to improve my cultivation. I'll break through to the next cultivation layer as quickly as possible. That's what I want to do. Act according to your strength." Xianyuan Ruhan said. Lin Feng said, "I'll see how it goes." When the group of young masters saw their clans arrive, they became restless, as if they wanted to escape. Lin Feng said indifferently, "You want to escape with your magic sealed? Do you think I'm a decoration? Stay here obediently and don't run. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless." When they heard Lin Feng's threat, they were furious, but they didn't dare say anything. They knew that Lin Feng was someone who could do anything. Although he was young, he was ruthless enough. The restless hearts of the group of people quieted down again. Xiao Zichen had been watching the show the whole time. He wanted to see how Lin Feng would resolve the situation. If it was possible. Xiao Zichen. He didn't mind adding insult to injury. Of course, everything depended on how things would turn out. It didn't take long for the experts from the 14 major forces to arrive with many people. There were even more people watching the show. It was a sea of people. This made Boss Wang of the hunting ground overjoyed. This was free publicity for his hunting ground. "Kid, are you the one who sealed them?" said an old man coldly looking at Lin Feng. His eyes were twinkling with ice-cold energies. "It's Sima Hongyi. He's the person in charge of the Sima clan in Xianwen City. He's one of the top 5 elders in the Sima clan. He's very powerful." Someone in the crowd recognized the old man and couldn't help but say, "Sima family?" It was an illustrious force that was said to be close to Fu Tian Cave. The current Sima clan head's official wife was said to be a woman from the Fu Tian Cave. Moreover, she seemed to be the daughter of one of the higher-ups of Fu Tian Cave. Lin Feng came to Xianwen City to watch the battle between the Red World Fairy and Qi Ningtian. The second reason was to find Xianqinzi of the Fu Tian Cave. For now, Lin Feng still had no news of Xianqinzi. "Did you bring the immortal stones? Hand over the 1 billion high-grade immortal stones, and you can take him away," Lin Feng said indifferently. Upon hearing Lin Feng's words, Sima Hongyi's eyes were filled with killing intent. A junior. He actually dared to blackmail him. This infuriated Sima Hongyi. His eyes were filled with killing intent. "Brat, do you know what you're doing? Hurry up and release him before he makes a big mistake. Maybe there's still room for negotiation." Otherwise, there's no room for negotiation. Sima Hongi said coldly. Lin Feng ignored Sima Hongi. He looked at the group of young masters and asked, "Who's from the same clan as that old man?" "It's me." A young master stepped forward. This young master was called Sima Qingtsang. He was the great-great-grandson of the great elder of the second main branch of the Sima clan. He thought that Lin Feng was afraid. He said proudly, "Are you afraid now? Since you're afraid, let me go." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng waved his sleeve. An invisible force slammed into his body. Wah! Sima Qingtsang couldn't help but vomit blood. His face turned as pale as a sheet. That attack just now. The damage done to him was too severe. He had already fainted when he fell to the ground. After seeing this scene, many people couldn't help but gasp. Lin Feng's response was too violent. It was a slap to Sima Hongi's face. "Brat! You're digging your own grave." Sima Hongi roared angrily. Lin Feng sneered and said, "I don't have a good temper, and I hate it when people threaten me. So, it's best if you don't threaten me. Who knows what I'll do if I'm impulsive." Sima Hongi had wanted to say something else. However, after hearing Lin Feng's words, he decided to shut up. Sima Hongi shut his mouth. Lin Feng said, "Pay the ransom or collect their corpses. Third elder, save me. Grandfather, save me. Seventh grandpa, save me. 13th uncle, save me. I don't want to die." Many people looked at the experts from their clans and shouted for help. They didn't think that Lin Feng was lying. Lin Feng really dared to kill them. Therefore, they were naturally afraid. "Brat, you should know that you've offended 14 factions. Do you think you can leave alive after taking the money?" One of the experts said coldly. Lin Feng said, "You don't have to worry about that." The experts from the 14 factions looked gloomy. They began to communicate with each other using their divine senses. "There's no harm in giving it to him. This place has been completely sealed. He won't be able to escape. In that case, give it to him. After we capture him, we can return it to its rightful owner. After we capture this brat, I'll cut off his flesh piece by piece. I'll make him suffer a fate worse than death." After some discussion, they came to an agreement. That was, give the immortal stones to Lin Feng. A cultivator called Zhang Yifeng said coldly, "Fine, we'll give you the immortal stones." After hearing Zhang Yifeng's words, the crowd burst into an uproar. The 14 top forces had actually submitted. It was unbelievable. However, many people quickly understood what was going on. Lin Feng had offended 14 factions. Even if he got the immortal stones, would he have the life to spend them? Of course, the people who were watching this show were all very interested in what was happening in front of them. They were quite hopeful that some new changes would occur. It wasn't that they hoped that Lin Feng would be able to escape. Instead, they hoped that today's events would be more complicated. This way, they would be able to enjoy the show even more. The experts from the 14 factions took out their immortal stones. Rivers of immortal stones flew towards Lin Feng. A total of 14 billion high-tier immortal stones. Lin Feng put away the high-tier immortal stones. Then, he waved his hand. The 14 young masters flew out. Someone from their clan caught them. The 14 peak experts from the 14 factions all flew towards Lin Feng. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. Those strong cultivators were determined to kill Lin Feng. Chapter 54-22. Kid, have you thought about how you want to die? Sima Hong sneered as he looked at Lin Feng, his eyes flashing with killing intent. He wanted to kill Lin Feng. He didn't even try to hide his killing intent towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled. Cut the crap. I was just looking for someone to sharpen my cultivation. You guys are not bad opponents. Arrogant. An expert scolded coldly. In their eyes, Lin Feng was too arrogant. Let's do it. There's no need to talk so much with this kid, another expert said. Although these people were strong, they were extremely cautious. They felt that Lin Feng might have some hidden trump cards. That was why he dared to provoke them. Otherwise, why would Lin Feng do this? Lin Feng didn't look like a fool. Boom! Boom! Terrifying energy waves were emitted from the bodies of the experts. Sensing the energy waves emitted from their bodies, Yishuwen felt the energy waves emitted from their bodies. The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show were shocked. Among those experts, there were even existences at the quasi-sage level. There were at least 2 of them who were as strong as this. As for the other 12, all of them were sky immortals. With so many experts using their divine abilities together, the aura emitted from their bodies, it was enough to shock anyone. Therefore, in the eyes of the spectators, Lin Feng couldn't possibly fight against these terrifying existences. Even Xianyuan Ruhan's heart couldn't help but beat faster. Xianyuan Ruhan looked at Lin Feng and said, "Can you do it? Those guys are too strong. Why don't you run? If you don't run now, you won't be able to escape later." Lin Feng said, "Of course I'm fine. I'll show you how strong I am later." Actually, Lin Feng wasn't bragging. Lin Feng, who had broken through to the sky immortal realm, couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. Lin Feng's cultivation was now extremely strong. It could be described as unfathomable. Of course, although Lin Feng's battle prowess was strong. However, the other party had the advantage in numbers, so Lin Feng had to be cautious. At this moment, all kinds of powerful divine abilities condensed and blasted towards Lin Feng. Those divine abilities contained the power to destroy the world. Such power. It was truly shocking. Devour. Facing the attacks of the 14 experts, Lin Feng crossed his arms in front of him. A huge black vortex appeared. The huge black vortex seemed to have the power to distort time and space. It was unimaginably terrifying. The black vortex was formed by Lin Feng's devouring martial spirit. It could devour everything. When all kinds of powerful attacks arrived, they were all swallowed up by Lin Feng's devouring vortex. So powerful! Xianyuan Ruhan shouted excitedly. The spectating cultivators were visibly moved by this development as well. The combat strength that Lin Feng displayed was indeed too heaven-defying. Moreover, Lin Feng was so young. Wasn't this a little too unbelievable? The 14 experts also had expressions of disbelief on their faces. If a powerful quasi-saint had come, he would have been able to dissolve their attacks. Perhaps they wouldn't have been too shocked. But Lin Feng. He was just a young cultivator. Even if he was powerful, how powerful could he be? But what was the reality? Lin Feng had easily dissolved their attacks. No. To be precise, he should have easily devoured their attacks. In a way, unprecedentedly powerful. He had devoured their attacks. Lin Feng's methods were simply too overbearing. "Now it's my turn to attack," Lin Feng said with a cold smile. Lin Feng began to walk forward in the void. "The power of reincarnation is eternal. The power of karma is eternal. Reincarnation creates the immortal great Tao of reincarnation. Karma creates the order between heaven and earth. When the wheel of reincarnation rotates gently, the world will change. The gate of karma descends from the sky, able to change the fate of all things. Come out, wheel of reincarnation, gate of karma." The combination of the great reincarnation technique and the great karma technique. This was a method that Lin Feng had discovered by himself. As Lin Feng's cultivation increased, this method was also becoming more and more powerful. The power of reincarnation. The power of karma. It filled heaven and earth. Above the 9 heavens, a wheel of reincarnation was faintly discernible. The wheel of reincarnation was surrounded by the endless power of reincarnation. The wheel of reincarnation moved slightly, as if it could shatter the universe and allow people to enter the world of reincarnation. Bang! 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 Along with the sounds of violent collisions, an invisible force swept across the bodies of the 14 powerhouses. The 14 experts were all sent flying. Ah! This is the wheel of reincarnation summoned by the great reincarnation technique of the 3000 great Das. But why is the wheel of reincarnation so powerful? Sima Hong roared in disbelief. He had once seen a human expert use the great reincarnation technique. However, Lin Feng's cultivation level was not that high. Even if the wheel of reincarnation he summoned was very powerful, it should not have been able to send all 14 of them flying. Lin Feng sneered. How can you imagine my divine ability? The wheel of reincarnation continued to rotate, and an even more terrifying force attacked the 14 experts. The 14 experts wanted to use their divine ability to block it, but the divine ability released by the wheel of reincarnation was an invisible attack. Therefore, the 14 experts did not know how to block it. Bang! 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 After a series of violent collisions, the 14 experts were sent flying again. The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show were completely dumbfounded. The scene before their eyes was simply too unbelievable. But all of this was real. It was a young human cultivator. He was actually able to suppress 14 top-notch experts. At this moment, the gate of karma came down. A terrifying force instantly suppressed the 14 experts. Break! The 14 experts roared at the same time. They wanted to break through the gate of karma's suppression, but they soon despaired. Their power was instantly dispersed by the gate of karma. They had no way of breaking through the gate of karma's attack. In the end, the 14 experts were all suppressed by the gate of karma in the void. When he saw Lin Feng deal with the 14 experts so easily, Xiao Zichen's pupils constricted. The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show were completely stunned. I originally thought that you would be able to cause me some trouble, but you've disappointed me too much. Dealing with you is simply a waste of my time. Opponents are hard to find. Life is as lonely as snow. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. However, this sentence sounded too pretentious. Please remember the domain name of this book, mobile version of reading website. Chapter 54-23. When they heard Lin Feng say that his life was as lonely as snow, many people couldn't help but mutter. Don't be so pretentious. However, even though Lin Feng was pretentious, Lin Feng was too strong. They couldn't say anything else. This was a world where the strong decided everything. Without strength, one could only look up to the strong cultivators. Lin Feng, I'm your die-hard fan. Xianyuan Rohan was a lively person. When she saw Lin Feng suppress 14 strong cultivators, she immediately jumped up and down. That guy is too strong, right? He suppressed so many strong cultivators so easily. He's probably the strongest cultivator below the saints, right? Brother, you're flattering him. I think he's strong, but he's not the strongest cultivator below the saints. After all, some heaven-defying quasi-saints can compete with some saints. That makes sense, said Lin Feng. Many people couldn't help but discuss. What will it take for you to let us go? Asked a strong cultivator. So many of them had been suppressed by a young cultivator like Lin Feng. It was too humiliating. But what could they do if they weren't strong enough? Simple. Pay the ransom. Lin Feng smiled fiendishly. When they heard that Lin Feng wanted them to pay the ransom, many people's mouths twitched. Not long ago, these people had each taken out 1 billion high-tier immortal stones to ransom the group of young masters captured by Lin Feng. Lin Feng had received 14 billion high-tier immortal stones. Countless people had never seen so many high-tier immortal stones in their lives. But today they saw it. How could they spend so many high-tier immortal stones? How long had it been? Was Lin Feng going to make a fortune again? We really don't have any money, the group of big shots said. They were about to cry. Even though they were rich, they couldn't withstand Lin Feng's extortion. If you don't have money, I'll kill you, Lin Feng said. Spare us. Their expressions changed as they begged Lin Feng for mercy. It's useless. I'm determined to be a great demon king. I won't be merciful. Lin Feng curled his lips and said. Many people couldn't help but wail in their hearts. Lin Feng was even more despicable than the great demon king. Did he really have to use money to redeem himself? 1.5 billion each. There's only one chance. If you don't pay up, then leave your life behind, Lin Feng said. Isn't this too much? Someone said. He was so angry at Lin Feng that he was about to vomit blood. He had just taken out 1 billion, and now he was taking out another one. 5 billion. That would add up to 5 billion. Are your lives not worth as much as the young ones of your clans? Lin Feng asked. Why not? Someone said. Someone did not say anything. Fuck, he's willing to throw away his dignity for money. Many cultivators who were watching the show rolled their eyes. Said Lin Feng. I don't care if your lives are worth anything or not. 1,500,000,000, that's all. We really can't take out so many immortal stones. Someone wanted to cry but had no tears. Lin Feng also knew that although Xianwen City was the main city, their businesses there were very big. However, they had just taken out 1 billion high-tier immortal stones. Asking them to take out another 5 billion high-tier immortal stones would be too difficult for them. Lin Feng said. Don't you have businesses? You can pledge your businesses to other major powers for money. When you have the money, you can just return the money to them. Lin Feng's method was too ruthless. Many people's faces turned green, but there was nothing they could do. They had no choice but to agree to Lin Feng's method even if they didn't want to. Lin Feng looked at the crowd and asked, Is there anyone willing to accept their businesses as collateral? The Heaven and Earth Trading Company is willing to do it. The Literature Trading Company is willing to do it. The Hunter Trading Company is willing to do it. Many people stepped forward, wanting to do this business. All right. You can sign the contract now, Lin Feng said. The group of experts had no choice but to sign a pledge contract with some trading companies. Those trading companies then transferred over a large amount of immortal stones to them. 14 experts each spent 5 billion high-tier immortal stones to redeem their freedom. In the blink of an eye, Lin Feng earned another 21 billion high-tier immortal stones. Including the 14 billion high-tier immortal stones from before, Lin Feng earned a total of 35 billion high-tier immortal stones. Everyone knew how difficult it was to earn immortal stones. However, Lin Feng had extorted 35 billion high-tier immortal stones from 14 major powers in a short period of time. It had to be said, he was too ruthless. However, other cultivators wouldn't dare to use such a method. They would offend so many powers. If they didn't have enough power, wasn't that just courting death? Lin Feng, what about me? Xianyuan Rohan asked excitedly. Lin Feng casually took out 100 million high-tier immortal stones and gave it to Xianyuan Rohan. Hee, so many immortal stones. Xianyuan Rohan was instantly overjoyed. They hadn't done anything. Instead, they'd earned 100 million high-tier immortal stones. This was naturally something to be happy about. Lin Feng and Xianyuan Rohan left with their 300 servants. The cultivators of the 14 powers left as well. This place, they didn't have the face to stay here any longer. The cultivators who'd come to watch the show also dispersed. After returning to the Xianyuan Trading Company, Xianyuan Rohan told Xianyuan Zixuan to make arrangements for these people. Although Xianyuan Zixuan hadn't gone to watch the show, he was still extremely well informed. He'd already heard about what had happened at the hunting ground. As for Lin Feng's ability to cause trouble, Xianyuan Zixuan could only smile bitterly. I have a feeling that they won't let you off so easily. Should we go out and hide? Xianyuan Rohan said. She was actually starting to worry about Lin Feng's safety. Lin Feng laughed. You're worried about me. Are you interested in me? Go to hell. Who's interested in you? Xianyuan Rohan snorted lightly, but her beautiful face turned somewhat red. What was she thinking? No one knew. Lin Feng didn't continue teasing Xianyuan Rohan. Instead, he said, They don't have any saints in Xianan City. If they did, they would have attacked me long ago. Even if they sent a message back, it would take a long time. Those saints would also need a long time to arrive. By that time, I would have already left Xianwen City. It seems like you've already guessed everything. That's why you're extorting them, right? Xianyuan Rohan said. Lin Feng smiled and didn't dwell on the topic. Then, he looked at Xianyuan Rohan with a smile and said, I've been your shield this time. How are you going to thank me? Xian Yuan Ruhan said. You've already earned more than 30 billion High-tier immortal stones. If you hadn't been my shield, how could you have earned so many High-tier immortal stones? You should be the one thanking me. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. He felt that Xian Yuan Ruhan's skin was really thick. End of chapter. Chapter 54-24. I earned those immortal stones with my own ability, okay? Lin Feng said. 50% of the credit goes to me. Xian Yuan Ruhan said. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel speechless. He could tell that Xian Yuan Ruhan's meaning was very clear. There was no way he could get anything from her. Lin Feng said. If you have any problems in the future, don't come looking for me. Forgive me for being unable to help you. Don't. We've had a good time working together this time. Xian Yuan Ruhan said. You're too dishonest. Lin Feng said. All right. What benefits do you want? As long as it's within my power, I'll do my best to satisfy you. Xian Yuan Ruhan said. Lin Feng smiled evilly. You can do it, said Lin Feng. When Xian Yuan Ruhan saw Lin Feng's gaze, she couldn't help but feel apprehensive. She had the feeling that Lin Feng was looking at her with evil intentions. Said Xian Yuan Ruhan. Your gaze is too evil. Tell me, what are you planning? Lin Feng said. You've wronged me. Am I that kind of person? Yes. Xian Yuan Ruhan said bluntly. Actually, my request is very simple. Lin Feng said. Tell me. Xian Yuan Ruhan looked at Lin Feng cautiously. It's too boring to sleep alone at night. I want to sleep with you in my arms. Lin Feng said. In your dreams? Xian Yuan Ruhan glared fiercely at Lin Feng, then kicked at Lin Feng. But Lin Feng reacted quickly and easily dodged Xian Yuan Ruhan's kick. Then, he instantly arrived beside Xian Yuan Ruhan and put her on his shoulder. Put me down. Hurry up and put me down. Xian Yuan Ruhan struggled. I won't. Lin Feng smiled. You're shameless. You bastard. You pervert. Xian Yuan Ruhan cursed. Thank you for the compliment. Lin Feng replied with a smile. Xian Yuan Ruhan was about to lose to Lin Feng. She had met such a shameless man like Lin Feng. It drove her crazy. Hurry up and save me. When Xian Yuan Ruhan saw the guards and servants in the distance, she cried out for help. Those people all had strange expressions on their faces. They had seen Lin Feng and Xian Yuan Ruhan leave intimately. She knew that Lin Feng and Xian Yuan Ruhan were lovers. Now, they saw Lin Feng carrying Xian Yuan Ruhan on his shoulders. Naturally, she thought that it was a flirting between a young couple. Therefore, they didn't dare to go over at this time. If he were to disturb the two of them, he would be in trouble. Who knew if he would be punished at that time? Thus, the group of people who heard Xian Yuan Ruhan's cry for help pretended not to hear anything. Furthermore, he ran away like a puff of smoke. Xian Yuan Ruhan said furiously, You bastards! I'll definitely fire you in the future. Xian Yuan Ruhan was carried back to her room by Lin Feng. Just when Xian Yuan Ruhan thought that the Demon King Lin Feng was about to snatch away her most precious thing, Lin Feng put Xian Yuan Ruhan down, then smiled and said, I was just joking with you. Why are you making such a fuss? You're saying that you were just joking with me? Xian Yuan Ruhan asked. Yes. What else do you think? Could it be that you really thought that I would do something to you? Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. Die. This time, Xian Yuan Ruhan successfully kicked Lin Feng's leg, then angrily rushed out the door. She left behind a confused Lin Feng. He didn't know what Xian Yuan Ruhan was up to. After Xian Yuan Ruhan left, Lin Feng planned to go into seclusion for a while. It was rare for him to have this free time. Lin Feng wanted to refine the culinary fiend's quintessence. Although it was only a quarter of the culinary fiend's quintessence, it should be able to greatly increase his cultivation, right? Previously, Lin Feng had just broken through. His foundation wasn't stable, so he hadn't been able to refine the culinary fiend's quintessence. But now, he didn't have to worry about that. because it had been some time since he had broken through. After this period of consolidation and the tempering of some great battles, he had become much stronger. His foundation had stabilized. He could continue to break through. Lin Feng entered the space-time continuum. After taking out the culinary fiend's quintessence, he began to refine it. It took him 3 days to refine the god-eating demon's origin. Lin Feng discovered that the culinary fiend's quintessence was quite effective. Lin Feng's cultivation had risen from the first heavenly layer to the 4th heavenly layer of the sky immortal realm. He'd broken through 3 levels in a row. One had to know how powerful Lin Feng's accumulations were. How difficult would it be to break through? Therefore, it wasn't easy for Lin Feng to break through to the next cultivation layer. And this time, he'd broken through 3 levels in a row. Lin Feng was in a good mood. He went into seclusion in the space-time continuum for a period of time before coming out. After Lin Feng came out of seclusion, 10 days had passed in the outside world. When she saw Lin Feng come out, Xianyuan Rehan asked, "What have you been doing all this time?" "Cultivating in seclusion, of course," Lin Feng said. Xianyuan Rehan handed a storage ring to Lin Feng. "What's this?" Lin Feng asked. "I've gathered everything you wanted. Now you can go and repair your ancient ship," Xianyuan Rehan said. Lin Feng used his divine will to sense it, then smiled. "At least you're a man of your word." Xianyuan Rehan pursed her lips. "Of course I'm a man of my word." She then continued. That Qin Ningtian came to Shenhua City. Many people went to see him, and countless people tried to curry favor with him. It was a sensational scene. Is there a need for that? Lin Feng was speechless. Of course there's a need. Qin Ningtian is a favorite of the Lord of the 33 Heavens. Everyone says that when the Lord of the 33 Heavens abdicates, Qin Ningtian might become the new Lord of the Heavens. That's why there are so many people trying to curry favor with Qin Ningtian. The celestial world is an extraordinary world. Xianyuan Rehan said. You went to see him too? Lin Feng asked. Of course. Xianyuan Rehan nodded. That Qin Ningtian is very handsome. Is he more handsome than me? Lin Feng asked. Sogyu. Chapter 5425. Futian Cave was one of the 4 most powerful forces in the eastern region. Naturally, they had a huge business in Xianwen City. Xianwen City East, West, North, South, and Central. Each had a trading company. The trading company in the central region was the most important, and also the best. Xianqinzi's mother was the vice master of Futian Cave. Xianqinzi's identity was naturally extremely extraordinary. After coming to Xianwen City, he was considered half the master of Futian Cave. Inside the room, Xianqinzi was studying the mysterious iron box. He had tried to open it several times, but he had almost been robbed because of it. Xianqinzi knew how terrifying the mysterious iron box was. So, he knew that he had to be careful with the mysterious iron box. However, although there was no way to control the mysterious iron box, every time Xianqinzi faced the mysterious iron box, he would be very excited. Because Xianqinzi knew, the more shocking the secret of the mysterious iron box was, the more helpful it would be to him after he completely mastered the mysterious iron box. This was a relationship that complemented each other. While Xianqinzi was studying the mysterious iron box, Lin Feng came to the Central Trading Company of Futian Cave. Behind the Central Trading Company of Futian Cave was a huge house. According to Xianyuan Rehan, Xianqinzi lived inside. Tao Tai also knew about this news and came with Lin Feng. Xianyuan Rehan was naturally involved in this kind of lively matter. Xianyuan Rehan said with a smile, You're not thinking of barging in, are you? Let me tell you, Futian Cave is an extremely terrifying force, especially good at formations. If you dare to barge in and get trapped in the formation, it will be extremely dangerous. Lin Feng said. It's okay, I'm least afraid of formations. You're bragging. Xianyuan Rehan curled her lips and said. Lin Feng was indeed powerful, Xianyuan Rehan also admitted this. But formations and cultivation were different. Formations required a lot of time to study. So, those formation grandmasters were often a group of very old cultivators. Lin Feng was too young. How could his attainments in the field of formations be too profound? It was simply unrealistic. It was no wonder Xian Yuan Rohan. They felt that Lin Feng was bragging. Lin Feng didn't explain anything. Wait a minute. The result would be clear. Lin Feng took out his epic war spear and flew towards Fu Tian Cave's encampment. Who are you? How dare you barge into Futian Grotto's base? Are you tired of living? Many guards looked coldly at Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. There was no need to show mercy to the enemy. Lin Feng swept his epic war spear over. A world-destroying wave of energy surged out. Dazzling spear lights flew out one after another. Puff! A tearing sound could be heard. One after another, the guards were killed on the spot. Someone killed the guards of the Futian Grotto. Audacious! How audacious! That guy must be tired of living, right? That's why he's courting death. After seeing Lin Feng kill the guards of the Futian Grotto, many people on the street couldn't help but discuss. They were extremely shocked and couldn't believe what they were seeing. It was no wonder that they were so shocked. The Futian Grotto was a force that no one dared to provoke. But today, someone actually came to kill them. It was really unbelievable. The news spread very quickly, and a large number of people rushed over to watch the show. Exciting! This is really exciting! Xian Yuan Rohan's beautiful face was full of excitement. She had a personality that wished for the world to be in chaos. Now that she saw such a scene, naturally, she felt incomparably excited and excited. At this time, Lin Feng had already killed his way into the mansion. Who is it? How dare you behave so atrociously in my Futian Grotto's encampment? An angry shout could be heard. A large number of guards rushed over. The leader was a middle-aged man with a blood-red blade in his hand. It's the Bloody Blade Venerable. He's a powerful existence. It's said that he broke through to the Sky Immortal Realm a long time ago. He was originally an evil cultivator, and his blade was stained with the blood of countless people. But later on, he joined the Futian Grotto and was given an important position. Now, he's the commander of the guards of the Futian Grotto's Xianwen city. Among the cultivators who were watching the show, an old man spoke up. Obviously, he knew the cultivator who spoke. Even a Sky Immortal Realm powerhouse has come out. That kid doesn't even have 200 years of life. He's going to die. That's right. I think he'll be skinned alive later. Many people were whispering to each other. The people who were watching the show didn't think highly of Lin Feng. They felt that Lin Feng would definitely die this time. It was no wonder that they thought so. One person, one spear. They killed their way to the Futian Grotto's encampment. How could they fight against the experts of the Futian Grotto? Lin Feng looked indifferent and asked, "Where's Xianqinzi? Tell him to come out." Xianqinzi? Isn't that the son of the vice-leader of the Futian Grotto? It seems like that kid has a grudge against Xianqinzi. I heard that Xianqinzi has only been in Xianwen City for a few days. That kid must have heard that Xianqinzi came here to seek revenge. He came to the Futian Grotto to seek revenge? Is he stupid? That's right. Even if he had 9 lives, it wouldn't be enough. Many people shook their heads and looked at Lin Feng pitifully. Impudent! Who do you think you are? How dare you call Xianqinzi by his name? Bloody Saber Venerable's face darkened as he said coldly. Since you don't want to tell me, I'll kill my way in. I don't believe that Xianqinzi won't come out. Lin Feng smiled coldly and rushed towards the venerable cultivator. Kill him. The venerable cultivator didn't attack. Instead, he ordered the guards to attack Lin Feng. Die. The guards attacked Lin Feng one by one. Some of them were experts trained by the Futian Grotto, while others were experts recruited by the Futian Grotto. They all had their own unique techniques. Someone had unleashed a powerful divine ability. Some people took out powerful magic treasures. These people were many times stronger than the guards standing guard outside. However, In front of Lin Feng, they were like ants. Lin Feng was like a demon. He swept his spear. Billions of spear lights shot out. All the magical weapons and magical powers were destroyed by Lin Feng. After that, all the cultivators were killed by the spear lights. "You're courting death," shouted the venerable cultivator furiously. He jumped forward. Then, he attacked Lin Feng with his blade. Lin Feng smiled coldly and took the initiative to attack the Zoom cultivator. His spear was aimed at the venerable cultivator's chest. The venerable cultivator swung his blade at Lin Feng's epic war spear. The powerful attack landed on the epic war spear. The epic war spear didn't move. Then, there was a piercing sound. Lin Feng's spear pierced through the venerable cultivator's chest. End of chapter. Chapter 54-26. I actually died just like that. Bloodblade Venerable looked at the spear that pierced his chest in disbelief. Before he died, countless images flashed through his mind. For example, when he was young, he was bullied because of his lack of talent. Later, he was taken in by a demonic cultivator. Bloodblade Venerable's cultivation gradually became stronger. He began to bully others. Actually, this kind of thing seemed to be quite common. People who were bullied when they were young would often become the kind of people who bullied others in the future. They would become the kind of people they hated when they were young. Bloodblade Venerable killed countless people. But because his cultivation was not bad, so he had always been free. Until one time, Bloodblade Venerable killed someone from a big power. He was chased by that big power. Bloodblade Venerable originally thought that he would definitely die under that big power's pursuit. But Bloodblade Venerable did not expect that the heavens would always leave a way out. He had actually entered the world of time reversal by chance. Here, Bloodblade Venerable found out. It turned out that the previous him was actually so weak. In this man-eat-man world where time was reversed, Venerable Bloody Saber crazily slaughtered the cultivators he saw as prey. He plundered all kinds of resources to constantly make himself stronger. But good times did not last long. An evil cultivator like him who had countless blood on his hands was destined to be hated by countless forces. So many forces sent experts to chase after Bloodblade Venerable. Bloodblade Venerable joined Futian Cave. Those forces did not dare to offend Futian Cave, so they gave up. Venerable Lord Bloody Saber became a guard commander of Futian Cave. Bloodblade Venerable even looked forward to breaking through to the true immortal realm in the future, or even the Saint realm. In Futian Cave, maybe there was really hope. Because as long as there was potential, Futian Cave did not care if you were a direct descendant, a side branch disciple, or a cultivator that was recruited. Futian Cave would spare no effort to nurture you. But Bloodblade Venerable knew. All hope had been cut off today. He did not want to die. But his life was quickly slipping away. Bloodblade Venerable hated. He hated the human cultivator in front of him. At the same time, he hated Xianqinzi. He hated the human cultivator for killing him. But he hated Xianqinzi even more for provoking such a powerful existence. If Xianqinzi did not provoke this existence, he would not die. Bloody Saber Venerable opened his mouth, wanting to say something. However, Lin Feng didn't give him a chance to speak. This was because Lin Feng had directly lifted Venerable Lord Bloodsaber into the air with his battle spear. Then, his right hand suddenly shook. Bang! Bloody Blade Venerable's body exploded. His body and soul were destroyed on the spot. Dead? Bloodsaber Venerable is dead too. He's a celestial immortal. He's not far from breaking through to the true immortal realm, but he was killed just like that. That brat is quite strong. He's most likely a true immortal. So what if he's a true immortal? You're still like an ant in front of Fu Tian Cave. Many people were talking about it. For ordinary people, a cultivator like Venerable Bloodbath was indeed quite powerful. But for Lin Feng, the Bloody Blade Venerable was like an ant. What was a mere heavenly immortal? Kid, who the hell are you? You actually came to my Futian Grotto's base to cause trouble? At this moment, a cold voice sounded. more than 10 cultivators flew out. Those cultivators all had a deep and terrifying aura. Many people couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. Those cultivators were definitely true immortals, and some of them were very powerful. The leader is called Zhou Tianyang. He's a beginner sage immortal. Someone said. What? A sage immortal? That powerful? Many people couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. There were indeed some sage immortals in the reverse time world. But sage immortals were like phoenix feathers and Qilin horns. They were really too rare. Therefore, a cultivator at the Saint Immortal realm could definitely be called a top expert. Apart from Zhou Tianyang, who's a holy immortal, there are 3 other golden immortal cultivators. Someone continued. Many people were shocked. 1 sage immortal. 3 golden immortals. The rest were all true immortals. These cultivators were too powerful. The guards who had died before were like ants in front of these people. Venerable Lord Bloodsaber was in front of them. He was just a slightly stronger ant. Everyone looked at Lin Feng. Previously, Lin Feng had indeed displayed extraordinary battle strength. But now, facing an even more powerful existence, how could Lin Feng fight against these guys? In many people's eyes, Lin Feng was no different from a dead man. Finally, some decent cultivators have appeared, Lin Feng said indifferently. After hearing Lin Feng's words, many people's mouths couldn't help but twitch violently. So many experts. But Lin Feng said that they were some decent cultivators. Wasn't this tone too big? Did he not put those experts in Futian Cave in his eyes? People like Venerable Lord Bloodsaber. He could only be considered a low-level member of Futian Cave. Of course. Venerable Lord Bloodsaber was considered a low-level member with a little status. He was a real mid-level member. Those true Immortal Realm experts. Lin Feng was facing such a person. A high and mighty existence. However, Lin Feng's words towards these people were filled with contempt. No one thought that Lin Feng really had the ability to deal with those experts. Many people thought that Lin Feng was too arrogant and full of himself. With just a little bit of strength, he didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. What a joke. Lord, let me kill this brat. A cultivator in his 30s said. This was a peak Dao Immortal Realm cultivator. Actually, he wasn't young. He had already cultivated for more than 7 million years. Go. Zhou Tianyang said. The Dao Immortal Realm expert quickly charged towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he leaped out and quickly charged towards the Dao Immortal Realm expert. The Dao Immortal Realm expert sneered and directly took out a flying sword to slash towards Lin Feng. That was his natal magic treasure. The Dao Immortal Realm expert activated his natal magic treasure with all his might. His attack. In an instant, it reached the peak. In his opinion, Lin Feng was like an ant. He would definitely be killed by him. That brat is dead for sure. The cultivators who were watching the show couldn't help but exclaim. They thought so too. Tao Tai had a calm expression. Xianyuan Ruhan became excited as she felt that things were getting more and more lively. Lin Feng swept out with his spear and the powerful flying sword was swept away by Lin Feng. Then, Lin Feng charged towards the Dao Immortal Realm cultivator. Lin Feng's speed was simply too fast. So fast that no one had recovered from their shock. He had already charged over. Pooh! Lin Feng's spear instantly pierced through the Dao Immortal Realm expert's chest as if it had pierced through Venerable Lord Bloodsaber's chest. Chapter 54-27. Dead? Dead? Even a peak Dao Immortal expert was killed. That guy is really too savage. Everyone cried out in alarm. The development of the matter. Obviously, it was beyond everyone's expectations. Originally, everyone thought that Lin Feng was definitely going to die. But the reality was not like that. Lin Feng was completely fine. Instead, it was that expert at the peak of the Dao Immortal Realm who was killed. That was the peak of Dao Immortal. Golden Sage. The peak of Dao Immortal took another step forward. That was the golden immortal realm. So, peak Dao immortal experts were very powerful. He shouldn't have been killed so easily. Damn it! Many experts of Fu Tian Cave could not help but shout angrily. Right under their noses, Lin Feng had killed a cultivator at the top of the Dao immortal layer. It was like slapping them in the face. Lord, I'll go kill him! At this time, a golden immortal expert said. This person was called Xianyuan Kuang. His cultivation was very high. His aura was deep and terrifying. Xianyuan Kuang is a 5th layer golden immortal. Once he enters the golden immortal realm, he will complete his self-transcendence. No matter how strong that kid is, he will definitely not be a match for a golden immortal expert. At this time, a cultivator said. Although they could not determine Lin Feng's specific realm, they knew that Lin Feng definitely had not entered the golden immortal realm. Because golden immortal cultivators emitted an immortal golden immortal aura. This kind of aura was easier to determine. It was really too difficult for a cultivator who had not entered the golden immortal realm to fight against the golden immortal. Go, don't let him die too easily, because that will be too easy for him, Zhou Tianyang said. Understood. Xianyuan Kuang nodded. Then, he quickly flew towards Lin Feng. Xianyuan Kuang took out a powerful magic treasure. It was a halberd. He held the halberd and sneered at Lin Feng. Kid, you use a spear, I use a halberd. But I will let you know how big the gap between us is. With that, Xianyuan Kuang swung his halberd at Lin Feng. A cold glow was instantly formed. Then, he quickly charged towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he swept his epic war spear over. Clang! Lin Feng's epic war spear collided with Xianyuan Kuang's cold light. A series of clanging sounds could be heard. Xianyuan Kuang's attack was neutralized by Lin Feng. You have some ability. You're qualified to die by my hands. Xianyuan Kuang looked at Lin Feng with disdain. Immediately after, he strode towards Lin Feng. The halberd in his hand pierced towards Lin Feng. The void seemed to be on the verge of shattering. As expected of a golden immortal expert. Their power is too terrifying. Yes. Golden immortal cultivators are too strong, especially Xianyuan Kuang. His cultivation level is extremely high, so his attacks are even more terrifying. That kid might not even be able to take one attack. The cultivators who were watching the show all exclaimed. It was no wonder that they didn't think highly of Lin Feng. It was because Xianyuan Kuang's attack was too powerful. Xianyuan Kuang instantly arrived in front of Lin Feng. That terrifying attack was about to pierce through Lin Feng's body. At that moment, Lin Feng moved. Lin Feng moved to the left. He easily dodged Xianyuan Kuang's attack. Xianyuan Kuang's powerful attack instantly pierced through the air. How is this possible? After seeing this scene, many people exclaimed in disbelief. Logically speaking, an expert like Xianyuan Kuang shouldn't have missed his target. However, Xianyuan Kuang's attack missed. This was enough to explain a lot of things. Could it be? Many people thought of a certain possibility. When they thought of that possibility, they couldn't help but be shocked. At that moment, they saw Lin Feng attack again. It was still an extremely simple attack. A spear pierced towards Xianyuan Kuang. Xianyuan Kuang wanted to dodge, but he found that he couldn't. Lin Feng's speed. It was really too fast. It was so fast that Xianyuan Kuang was close to despair. Pooh! A tearing sound suddenly rang out. Xianyuan Kuang's body was pierced by Lin Feng's spear. Then, Lin Feng held the spear in one hand and lifted Xianyuan Kuang into the air. Ah! Xianyuan Kuang let out a miserable cry. He was a golden immortal and had a strong vitality. So even though he suffered such a heavy blow, he still didn't die. It's really like this, even a golden immortal isn't his match. Too terrifying. Exclamations rose and fell one after another. One cultivator after another looked at Lin Feng in shock. The battle strength that Lin Feng displayed. It was completely beyond their imagination. Kid, hurry up and let him go. Otherwise, I'll tear you to pieces. Zhou Tianyang shouted coldly after seeing this scene. A golden immortal was a core member of a force. If he was killed, it would be a great loss. I'm not afraid of being threatened. Today, I'll kill this person. I want to see what you can do to me. Lin Feng replied coldly. Then, his right hand suddenly shook. Bang! Following that, Xian Yuan Kuang's body directly exploded. Xian Yuan Kuang's body and soul were destroyed, and he died on the spot. Brat, you deserve to die 10,000 times. Zhou Tianyang roared. Of course. Although he was angry. Although he couldn't wait to kill Lin Feng. However, Zhou Tianyang also knew that Lin Feng wasn't simple. He planned to use the safest method to kill Lin Feng. The safest method was naturally a great array. The power of the Futian Caves array was something that everyone in the world knew. Especially some of the great arrays recorded in the Futian scripture. It could simply kill gods and exterminate immortals. The power was unimaginable. Activate the great array and kill him. Zhou Tianyang shouted in a deep voice. When Zhou Tianyang's voice fell, the great array in the courtyard was immediately activated. Lines of array runes interweaved together. Those array runes began to seal the void. After feeling the aura emitted by the array runes, the cultivators who were watching the show couldn't help but be moved. Once the great array of the Futian cave was activated, no one would be able to contend against it. Lin Feng was indeed powerful. However, being trapped by the great array of the Futian cave would probably be extremely dangerous. Even Xianyuan Ruhan's expression couldn't help but change slightly. Xianyuan Ruhan, who was born in a top power, had a far better understanding of the Futian cave than others. It was precisely because she knew more about the Futian cave. That was why Xianyuan Ruhan knew how terrifying Futian's great array was. Xianyuan Ruhan shouted loudly. Lin Feng, take advantage of the fact that the great array hasn't been completely activated and quickly come out. Otherwise, when the great array is completely activated, I'm afraid you won't be able to come out even if you want to. Genius, remember this site's address in a second. Chapter 5428. Xianyuan Ruhan's worry was naturally reasonable. Because Xianyuan Ruhan knew how powerful Futian Cave's formation was. Although she knew that Lin Feng was powerful, she couldn't help but be very worried about Lin Feng's safety. Lin Feng revealed a confident smile and said, Don't worry. Soon you will know that breaking these formations is just a matter of a snap of my fingers for me. Arrogant. Zhou Tianyang couldn't help but shout coldly. Futian Cave's formation was tyrannical, but Lin Feng's words seemed to be full of disdain. Zhou Tianyang was naturally extremely angry. The cultivators who were watching the show also felt that Lin Feng's words were too arrogant. He actually dared to not put Futian Cave's formation in his eyes. They didn't know where Lin Feng's confidence came from. Boom! 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 At this moment, waves of terrifying fluctuations surged out. It was a large formation. They launched an attack on Lin Feng. All kinds of destructive attacks instantly flooded towards Lin Feng. Zhou Tianyang and the others revealed a cruel expression. In their opinion, Lin Feng couldn't resist the power of the large formation. The cultivators who were watching the show, they also shook their heads. Perhaps in those people's opinion, Lin Feng would definitely die without a burial place this time. Be careful! Xianyuan Ruhan couldn't help but exclaim, looking at Lin Feng with a worried gaze. Her heart couldn't help but rise. Futian Cave's formation was world famous. Lin Feng was trapped by the formation. How could he resist the formation's attack? Xianyuan Ruhan didn't have confidence in her heart. Tao Tai, on the other hand, had a calm expression. Perhaps the only person who had confidence in Lin Feng. It was Tao Tai. When all kinds of terrifying attacks came crashing down, Lin Feng stepped forward in the large formation. Seeing that Lin Feng was about to be drowned by the terrifying attacks, Lin Feng dodged the attack by a hair's breadth. Look! It was truly a close call. Many people felt that Lin Feng must have been extremely lucky to have dodged the attack of the array. Zhou Tianyang and the others also thought so. When the formation released the next wave of attacks, Lin Feng would definitely not be able to withstand it. However, to everyone's disbelief, Lin Feng shuttled back and forth amidst the attacks of the Grand Array. Furthermore, he managed to dodge all of the attacks released by the formation. This scene, it was too unbelievable. Every single person. They all felt a little dizzy. Wow, isn't this guy's mastery of formations too high? Xianyuan Ruhan came back to her senses and immediately exclaimed. Actually, Xianyuan Ruhan knew that Lin Feng had always been studying array formations. He also knew that Lin Feng's attainments in array formations should not be low. But he didn't expect Lin Feng's array formation skills to be so tyrannical. Shuttling in and out of the absolute kill grand formation was as easy as entering an uninhabited land. What kind of method was this? It made people feel dumbfounded. Die. Lin Feng quickly arrived in front of a few true immortal experts and swept the arrow war spear in his hand towards them. Only then did the true immortal cultivators of Futian Cave come back to their senses. Then they hurriedly attacked. But facing Lin Feng's attack, their resistance was completely useless. Lin Feng himself was already terrifying enough. Not to mention that Lin Feng was now using the arrow war spear, a supreme treasure. The current Lin Feng. He was simply killing gods and Buddhas. No one could stop Lin Feng. Pfft. The sound of tearing suddenly rang out. The necks of the true immortal experts of Futian Cave were torn by Lin Feng's arrow war spear. The true immortal experts of Futian Cave were instantly killed. Lin Feng continued to kill the others. Pfft. 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 The sound of flesh being torn apart intertwined with the screams of the cultivators. Lin Feng was like a god of death that had walked out of hell. One by one, the experts of Futian Cave were killed by Lin Feng. Even if they were golden immortal experts. Once they were locked onto by Lin Feng, only death awaited them. There were so many cultivators watching the show outside. At this moment, not a single person made a sound. Because, at this moment, everyone. They had already been shocked by what they had seen. They were deeply shocked. So much so that they were completely stunned on the spot. In the blink of an eye, other than Zhou Tianyang, more than a dozen true immortal experts, including the 2 golden immortals, all of them were killed by Lin Feng. Too savage. Is he really not 200 years old? Is he still human? No, he's no longer human. He's a god. The crowd that came back to their senses immediately exploded. Everyone was talking about it. More and more people came to watch the show. As more and more people came to watch the show, naturally, many people recognized Lin Feng. This guy is really gutsy. Previously, he extorted tens of billions of high-grade immortal stones from 14 top factions. Now, he's killing his way to Futian Cave's territory. What is he trying to do? Some cultivators who recognized Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter inwardly. The news of 14 top factions being extorted tens of billions of high-grade immortal stones had naturally spread throughout Xianwen City. Many people were talking about this matter. Xianwen City was so huge. Only a small portion of people had seen Lin Feng before. There were even fewer people who came to watch the show. Those who recognized Lin Feng didn't say anything. They were all watching silently. They knew how terrifying Lin Feng was. Now that he was facing off against Futian Cave, there would be a good show to watch. Brat, I'll definitely kill you! Zhou Tianyang shouted coldly. His weapon was a huge sword. Zhou Tianyang held the huge sword in his hand and charged towards Lin Feng. The huge sword emitted violent energy waves that could shatter heaven and earth. It was definitely a powerful treasure. Zhou Tianyang's magic power. It flowed endlessly into the huge sword. The huge sword became more and more powerful. It became more and more terrifying. A sword light that was hundreds of meters long condensed. It seemed to be able to split open the world. A sage immortal expert. He was indeed powerful. Clang! Lin Feng waved his epic war spear and collided with Zhou Tianyang's huge sword. It was an earth-shattering power. They suddenly collided. The ground cracked. Deng! 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 Lin Feng and Zhou Tianyang couldn't help but take a few steps back. That guy is actually on par with Zhou Tianyang. He's so young, but he has the battle strength of a sage immortal. He's really a heaven-defying existence. Yeah, if he continues to grow, who knows how terrifying he'll become. Many people couldn't help but sigh. Those who had seen Lin Feng defeat the joint attack of 14 top factions experts sneered in their hearts. What was a mere sage immortal? A quasi-sage expert. Even if he came, he probably wouldn't be able to fight back. Unless he was an extremely heaven-defying quasi-sage. Otherwise, he would definitely die. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 54-29. Lin Feng, who was evenly matched with his opponent, was not discouraged. Because Lin Feng had only displayed a portion of his battle strength. This was Lin Feng's initial state. The so-called initial state referred to the battle strength that Lin Feng displayed when he did not use the ruler's armor and other things. Lin Feng's initial state was relatively the weakest. The strongest state was when Lin Feng used the 15x domineering magnetic field, because the 15x domineering magnetic field could not only increase Lin Feng's battle strength, but it could also weaken the opponent's battle strength. This was extremely frightening. Using the 15x domineering magnetic field, coupled with the ruler's armor, the magic lotus, the golden dwarf, the holy bone, and the stone golem clone, Lin Feng's battle strength would instantly erupt to the peak. It was just dealing with a saint immortal level cultivator. Naturally, there was no need to use those powerful methods. Crazed God Sword technique. Zhou Tianyang could not help but shout out coldly. He slashed towards Lin Feng one after another. He slashed out 36 times in a row. Every time he slashed out a sword, the power would suddenly soar by a lot. When the power was raised to the peak, Zhou Tianyang launched a peerless attack on Lin Feng. Zhou Tianyang's sword that could destroy heaven and earth. It instantly slashed down. The void was split open. A huge crack appeared on the ground. Many people could not help but exclaim. The power of Zhou Tianyang's sword was really powerful. Epic spear technique, killing gods and demons with a spear. Lin Feng sneered and used the move recorded in the epic spear technique. The epic spear technique and the epic war spear were combined. Lin Feng's battle strength suddenly soared. He was like a god from the era of creation that had descended to the world. A spear swept out. It was as if it could destroy the world. Clang! The sound of a violent collision was suddenly heard. The epic war spear collided with the opponent's huge sword. The power condensed by the huge sword. The power condensed by the epic war spear. It all exploded out in an instant. Everyone saw. The huge sword in Zhou Tianyang's hand. It actually left his hand. He had lost. He was defeated by Lin Feng. Both hands. He couldn't even pick up his great sword. Therefore, the giant sword slipped out of his hand. Zhou Tianyang revealed a look of disbelief, followed by a look of horror. Lin Feng's strength. It was beyond his imagination. It was hard to imagine that such a young cultivator could possess such terrifying combat power. How did he do it? Zhou Tianyang knew that if he wanted to live, he had to quickly get away from Lin Feng. Zhou Tianyang had cultivated the Tao of the Void. Therefore, he wanted to escape through the void. However, when Zhou Tianyang used the Tao of the Void to travel through the void and leave, Zhou Tianyang suddenly discovered that the void was actually confined. Oh no! Zhou Tianyang was shocked. The next moment, Zhou Tianyang felt a pain in his neck. Epic war spear. It pierced through Zhou Tianyang's neck. Zhou Tianyang's eyes widened, his face full of disbelief. He hadn't expected this. He had actually died just like that. Lin Feng drew his spear. Zhou Tianyang's corpse fell to the ground. Lin Feng held the epic war spear and continued to walk inside. Dead, even an expert like Zhou Tianyang is dead. He's really too powerful. That guy is so young, but he's actually so tyrannical. It's been a long time since such a young expert appeared in the human race, right? Who exactly is he? Could he be the son of the ancient Saint Emperor? After a short silence, the crowd suddenly erupted into an earth-shattering sound of venting. At this time, Lin Feng coldly shouted, "Xian Qinzi! I know you're inside. Hurry up and come out to die. If you don't come out, I will definitely make this place bleed like a river. Impudent, who are you? How dare you come to the Futian Caves encampment to cause trouble?" An angry shout was heard. Then an old man flew out. That old man had the demeanor of a transcendent being, but who knew if he was just fishing for fame? Hong Qitian has come out. He's a terrifying existence. Back then, he failed to break through to the Saint Realm, but he didn't die. It's obvious how strong he is. In recent years, I heard that he's been preparing to break through to the Saint Realm again. Hong Qitian is very powerful. Although he hasn't broken through to the Saint Realm, he won't be at a disadvantage against some low-level saints. Another cultivator said. That's right. Although I don't know who that young man is, he's a fierce character. Now that he's fighting against Hong Qitian, I wonder if he can compete with him? Someone couldn't help but ask. He was looking forward to the battle between Lin Feng and Hong Qitian. Those who knew Lin Feng's identity couldn't help but be excited. Hong Qitian wasn't someone ordinary quasi-saints could compare to. Ordinary quasi-saints could only last 10 rounds against Hong Qitian. That was already very difficult. Ordinary quasi-saints weren't Lin Feng's match either. Therefore, if Lin Feng fought against Hong Qitian, it would definitely be an exciting battle. You don't need to know who I am. You just need to know that I'm here to find Xian Qinzi. Tell him to get the hell out here. Lin Feng said coldly. You're here to find Xian Qinzi, but you've caused such a huge massacre. You're evil beyond redemption. You're even more evil than the evil cultivators. Hong Qitian said angrily. Lin Feng scolded him. Shameless old man, if we're talking about evilness, who can compare to the evil cultivators of the Futian Cave? You people of the Futian Cave are just a bunch of people fishing for fame. On the surface, you're righteous and virtuous, but behind the scenes, you're doing despicable and shameless things. Hong Qitian said angrily. You dare slander the Futian Cave? Lin Feng sneered and said. Do I still need to slander the Futian Cave? Xian Qinzi took a fancy to one of my treasures and captured my friend. Then, he used my friend's life to threaten me. I agreed to exchange it with him, but who would have thought that this person would use the corrosive shadow palm to injure my friend after obtaining the treasure? If I don't kill this person, I swear I'm not human. After hearing Lin Feng's words, many people finally understood how Lin Feng and Xian Qinzi became enemies. Xian Qinzi's actions were indeed too unethical. If you left after obtaining the treasure, although people would still criticize you, at least it wouldn't be an endless hatred, right? You had to use the corrosive shadow palm to injure the other party. Once a cultivator was hit by the corrosive shadow palm, there was no way to deal with it and they would soon die. Many people thought that Lin Feng's friend would definitely die tragically. Therefore, that was why Lin Feng was so furious. Don't slander the elites of the Futian Cave. Hong Qitian said coldly. Old man, you must have believed what I said in your heart, right? But you're saying that I'm slandering Xian Qinzi. From this, I can tell that you're just fishing for fame. I don't want to talk to you. Tell Xian Qinzi to get the hell out here and talk to me. Lin Feng said coldly. Humph. At this moment, a cold snort was heard. Everyone saw a white-clothed man walking in the air from the depths of the mansion. He was walking out step by step. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5430. It's Xian Qinzi. He's out. That's right, it's really Xian Qinzi. Xian Qinzi isn't a simple person. Although he's only at the Saint Immortal realm, he's an extremely heaven-defying genius. Therefore, his battle prowess far exceeds his cultivation level. Some low-level saints wouldn't dare to say that they can deal with him. That's right, Xianqinzi is indeed terrifying. Anyone who dares to look down on him is destined to have a bad ending. Seeing Xianqinzi come out, many people started to discuss. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't underestimate Xianqinzi. After all, there were too many geniuses in this world. People who could challenge those of a higher realm. Lin Feng wasn't the only one who had done that. There were such existences. There were many. Xianqinzi sneered and said, "You should be glad that I didn't kill you back then and didn't continue to cause trouble for me. Because if you do, hell will beckon to you." Xianqinzi's words were quite pretentious. However, this guy was indeed very strong. Therefore, he had the right to be arrogant. Lin Feng sneered and said, "I think you should say these words to yourself. Have you washed your neck clean? If you have, I'll cut your head off from your neck today." "Just you? Are people nowadays as ignorant as you?" Xianqinzi looked at Lin Feng with a mocking gaze. Lin Feng and Xianqinzi were at each other's throats. Many people couldn't help but become agitated. Xianqinzi was a famous peerless genius. He was one of the top geniuses of the younger generation in Futian Grotto. Lin Feng. Although they didn't know much about him, most people didn't know who Lin Feng was. But before this, Lin Feng had already displayed an extremely heaven-defying battle prowess. Therefore, this battle was extremely eye-catching. "I heard that there's an arena of life and death here. Once you enter the arena of life and death, unless one of you dies, the arena of life and death will never open. Do you dare to enter the arena of life and death with me?" Lin Feng said coldly. Actually, the reason Lin Feng made this request was because he knew that Xianqinzi was not easy to deal with. Moreover, Hong Qitian's cultivation was so high. Perhaps they had a way to escape. If Xianqinzi were to escape, it would be extremely difficult for him to find or even kill him. Therefore, Lin Feng had to seize this opportunity to kill Xianqinzi once and for all. "Xianqinzi, don't agree," Hong Qitian said in a deep voice. He naturally knew what Lin Feng was up to. In Hong Qitian's opinion, Xianqinzi could definitely defeat Lin Feng. However, what if something unexpected happened? Hong Qitian was a cautious person. He wanted to prevent any accidents from happening. Meanwhile, the surrounding crowd of onlookers was in an uproar. This was because Lin Feng's request clearly indicated that he wanted to fight Xianqinzi to the death. This was going to be exciting. Existences at this level could only unleash their most powerful combat strength when they were fighting to the death. Only then could they show everyone the most exciting battle. After all, they were just here to watch the show. This matter had nothing to do with them. Therefore, naturally, the more exciting it was, the better. "Why? You don't dare?" Lin Feng sneered at Xianqinzi. He said mockingly, "Where did your arrogance go? Was it all an act? You're so arrogant despite your cowardice. You're really ridiculous." Xianqinzi sneered. "I don't dare. Since you want to go to the arena of life and death, I'll let you live a little longer." "Xianqinzi, why did you agree to his request?" Hong Qitian's face was a little ugly. In fact, Xianqinzi's status was not lower than Hong Qitian's. Because of his mother, his talent, and his age, he had an advantage. Xianqinzi's status was actually higher than Hong Qitian's. Of course, Xianqinzi knew what Hong Qitian was worried about. However, Xianqinzi was not worried at all. Xianqinzi looked at Hong Qitian and said, "Do you think that I'm not his match?" Hong Qitian said, "Of course not. I'm just worried that this kid has some tricks up his sleeve." Xianqinzi continued, "In the face of absolute power, no amount of schemes or tricks will be effective." As soon as he finished speaking, Xianqinzi soared into the sky and quickly flew in the direction of the arena of life and death. Lin Feng could not help but sneer. He also soared into the sky and rushed in the direction of the arena of life and death. "Hurry up and go to the arena of life and death. A peerless battle is about to break out." The surrounding cultivators were in an uproar. They all flew in the direction of the arena of life and death. The news spread very quickly. A mysterious young human cultivator broke into the Futian Grotto's base alone and killed many experts. He's about to have a life and death battle with Xianqinzi in the arena of life and death. This news was indeed very explosive. Therefore, a large number of cultivators flew in the direction of the arena of life and death. The Red World Fairy and Qi Ningtian are going to fight in the arena of life and death. They haven't started fighting yet, but the arena of life and death has already welcomed a peerless battle. Xianwen City has been in a lot of trouble recently. I wonder who's going to challenge Xianqinzi. Xianqinzi is not a simple person. His cultivation base is extremely heaven-defying. Let's go. We'll know when we reach the arena of life and death. Many people were discussing. When a large number of cultivators arrived at the arena of life and death, they saw it floating in the air. The restrictive spells around it had already been activated. 2 cultivators were standing in the arena of life and death. Many people knew Xianqinzi. However, there were too few people who knew Lin Feng. That fellow doesn't look familiar. Who is he? Some people were puzzled. I don't know him. It's my first time seeing him. He's too young. So young? How can he be a match for Xianqinzi? Some people couldn't help but wonder. At that moment, the news that Lin Feng had extorted more than 30 billion high-grade immortal stones from 14 top groups was exposed. When the news spread, many people were shocked. It's actually that ruthless person. Many people couldn't help but mutter. Among the crowd, there were naturally cultivators from 14 top groups. Those cultivators looked at Lin Feng. They were both afraid and hateful. They prayed Xianqinzi could kill Lin Feng. Origin returning technique. Without wasting any time, Xianqinzi directly used a powerful divine ability. His hands continuously formed seals. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. He also started to use his divine ability to deal with Xianqinzi. However, at that moment, another Xianqinzi appeared behind Lin Feng. That Xianqinzi's lips curled into a sinister smile. He used his palm as a blade and directly slashed at Lin Feng's neck. It seemed like he wanted to cut off Lin Feng's head. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5431. Xianqinzi's primordial convergence godly technique was an extremely strange divine ability that was very confusing. His true body stood in the distance to confuse the opponent, while his clone silently appeared behind the opponent. Then, he launched a sure-kill attack on the opponent. Many people had yet to react to what was going on. They had already been killed. Xianqinzi's spirit-returning technique was used to perfection by him. Now, Xianqinzi once again used this peerless ability. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that Lin Feng couldn't react and kill him. Be careful! Xianyuan Rohan exclaimed. It can't be! It just started and it's going to end. Many cultivators who were watching the show couldn't help but mutter. Among those cultivators who were watching the show, there was no lack of experts. Now, seeing the scene in the life and death arena, they really couldn't have too much confidence in Lin Feng. The corner of Xianqinzi's mouth curled into a sinister arc. In his opinion, Lin Feng would definitely die. However, when Xianqinzi's clone swept out with that terrifying attack, Lin Feng's body, it crumbled. An afterimage? It was actually an afterimage. It wasn't the real Lin Feng. Shua! At this moment, Lin Feng appeared in front of Xianqinzi. Lin Feng's Tao of the Void and Tao of Space were extremely tyrannical. Xianqinzi's actions couldn't be hidden from Lin Feng. Therefore, Xianqinzi's true body attracted Lin Feng's attention, and then used his clone to deal with Lin Feng was completely ineffective. Lin Feng beat him at his own game, and used the Great Phantom technique to condense an illusory figure. That illusory figure. It was almost exactly the same as Lin Feng's true body. The 3000 Great Tao was still quite terrifying. Therefore, Xianqinzi didn't notice anything unusual about that illusory figure. Many people didn't notice anything unusual about that illusory figure. At this moment, Lin Feng used his teleportation technique. He instantly appeared in front of Xianqinzi. 6 times the strength of the Dracofin arm. It erupted in an instant. That violent power seemed to be able to destroy everything. Lin Feng punched at Xianqinzi. Xianqinzi's expression changed slightly. Because at such a close distance, he didn't have time to use his divine ability. He could only use his own physical body. With Lin Feng, force met force with force. But soon, Xianqinzi sneered. Because Lin Feng was a human cultivator. Human cultivators. His physical body was weak. This was something publicly acknowledged in the world of cultivators. Even though the race that Xianqinzi came from couldn't be considered as a race with an especially heaven-defying physical body, there was absolutely no issue for them to crush the physical body of a human. Xianqinzi threw a punch at Lin Feng. Bang! The two sides collided fiercely. Lin Feng didn't move an inch, but Xianqinzi was sent flying. Crack! Crack! The sound of bones cracking could be heard. Xianqinzi was sent flying by Lin Feng, his arm broken. Xianqinzi is injured. Many people couldn't help but exclaim. This was obviously something that no one had expected. Xianqinzi was so strong. The battle had just begun. Xianqinzi was actually injured. This situation. It was really surprising. That guy is a human. The physical body of a human is weak. Why is his physical body so strong? Some cultivators were puzzled. I'm not sure, but that guy's physical body is indeed strong. He directly crushed Xianqinzi. I wonder how Xianqinzi will deal with him next. Then, another cultivator said. If he could use the simplest method to get rid of Xianqinzi. Lin Feng definitely wouldn't use such a troublesome method to get rid of Xianqinzi. For Lin Feng, the simplest method was to use the huge advantage of his physical body to get rid of Xianqinzi. Lin Feng didn't just use the arm of the dragon elephant. The body of the dragon elephant. It was also used by Lin Feng. The arm of the dragon elephant and the body of the dragon elephant. Lin Feng's combat strength rose to the peak level in an extremely short period of time. It was really too strong. His strength had more than doubled compared to before. And Lin Feng's speed was so fast. Although Xianqinzi wanted to get rid of Lin Feng. But Lin Feng didn't give Xianqinzi a chance at all. Lin Feng burst out with an invincible attack. The second punch came instantly. Xianqinzi put his hands in front of him to block Lin Feng's terrifying attack. Bang! Lin Feng's punch landed on Xianqinzi's arm. Crack! Crack! The sound of bones cracking was heard again. Xianqinzi's arms were broken. Xianqinzi. He had suffered an unprecedented amount of damage. Both arms are broken. Xianqinzi is being crushed. I'm afraid Xianqinzi is dead for sure. Someone said. Yeah, a physical battle is on a completely different level. Moreover, Xianqinzi is completely locked down and can't get rid of him at all. So, this battle bodes ill for Xianqinzi. Another cultivator said. If Xianqinzi finds a way to get rid of that human cultivator, and then uses his sacred art to deal with him, there might be a chance to turn the tables. Another cultivator said. But everyone knew. Now, Xianqinzi couldn't get rid of Lin Feng. Lin Feng rushed forward. Punch after punch, he attacked Xianqinzi. Xianqinzi was mad with hatred. His eyes had turned blood red. When had he ever been suppressed to such an extent by someone before? This made him feel extremely sullen. But, now that he couldn't make any counterattack, this made Xianqinzi extremely angry. Lin Feng, you're too strong. Hurry up and kill that bastard. Xian Yuan Ruhan, who was watching the battle below the arena, shouted excitedly. Ah! Xianqinzi roared angrily, wanting to fight back. But before he could use his counterattack, Lin Feng interrupted him. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't give Xianqinzi any chance. Xianqinzi, it's useless. Prepare to die. Lin Feng sneered. He once again attacked Xianqinzi. Why? Why? You're obviously a human. Why is your physical body so strong? No matter what kind of physical body it is, it's far from being as strong as yours. How can a human cultivator have such a strong physical body? Xianqinzi roared angrily. To be crushed to such a state. Xianqinzi was really unwilling. Many people were listening attentively. Because they were also very curious. Why? Lin Feng's physical body was actually so strong. Lin Feng sneered and said, "Who said that a human's physical body must be weak? As long as they can endure hardship, any cultivator of any race can train their physical body to be very strong." Many people smiled bitterly. Lin Feng's words. It was equivalent to not saying anything. Lin Feng continuously punched out 3 times. Xianqinzi could only block the first 2 punches of Lin Feng. Lin Feng's third punch. Xianqinzi couldn't block it. Bang! Along with a loud noise was heard. His physical body directly exploded. On the spot, his body and soul were destroyed. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5432. Previously, those who used the QQ Reading Center on their phones were unable to search for Old Mantu's new book, Devouring the Heavens. But now, they could search for it. Everyone searched for it. At a bookshelf. It was very important for new books. Old Mantu thanked everyone. Archaic dragonesque elephant art. About the new book. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 5433. Xianqinzi is dead. I really didn't expect Xianqinzi to die just like that. He's a genius of a generation. He's so powerful, but he was killed so easily. It's unbelievable. It looks easy, but it's actually not easy. That's because that young master's physical body is too strong. Otherwise, how could he crush Xianqinzi? Many people started to discuss. Indeed. In this battle. It was truly shocking and moving. However, Xianqinzi's death. What was done. It could not be changed. Lin Feng, you're so strong. Lin Feng, I like you. Xianyuan Rohan jumped and jumped. Although this girl was sometimes very arrogant and domineering. However, many times, she also looked quite innocent. She was really happy for Lin Feng. At this moment, Lin Feng, standing on the arena, but frowning, because Lin Feng felt that something was wrong. Xianqinzi. Would he really die so easily? Suddenly, Lin Feng realized. His blood was flowing at an unprecedented speed. The ability of sudden inspiration was activated. Shua. Lin Feng did not dare to hesitate and quickly used the heaven mending technique. He borrowed another chance from the heavens. Lin Feng disappeared from his original spot. The moment Lin Feng disappeared, a cold light streaked across the sky. That cold light flew past the place where Lin Feng was previously. Its power was too strong. The void was almost shattered. If not for Lin Feng's fast reaction. Just now. He might have died without a burial ground. The cold light did not hit Lin Feng and turned into Xianqinzi's appearance. Lin Feng reappeared. He looked at Xianqinzi indifferently. Lin Feng already knew. Xianqinzi would not die so easily. From the looks of it, Lin Feng had guessed correctly. Xianqinzi is not dead. As expected, I knew that Xianqinzi would not die. Xianqinzi's body exploded. How could he still be revived? Could it be that Xianqinzi has the phoenix bloodline? The spectating cultivators were in an uproar. His body exploded, but he could be revived. It was indeed unbelievable. Even Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. Some powerful clans. They did have similar abilities. For example, the Undying clan and the Phoenix clan. Perhaps there were some clans that Lin Feng did not know. Do you have the Phoenix's bloodline? Lin Feng. Yes. Qinzi said with a gloomy S. Phoenix Nirvana makes me immortal and indestructible. Qinzi continued. Although he was he has previously Chenzi, STTS, this was something that Xian Chenzi could not accept. Chenzi was an extremely prideful person. The current Xian Chenzi, he hated Lin Feng so much that he gnashed his teeth. Lin Feng said sarcastically, "Immortal? What a joke. Phoenix's nirvana is powerful, but the success rate isn't high, right? Moreover, you're not a real undying phoenix, because the undying phoenixes with the purest bloodline are all women, not men. You're lucky to be able to activate the phoenix's bloodline once, but you're here bragging that you're immortal. What a joke." After hearing Lin Feng's sarcastic words, Xian Chenzi looked at Lin Feng indifferently and said, "Kid, don't be so smug. Isn't your body just a little stronger? Now, the distance between you and me has increased. I'll use my divine ability to make you unable to reincarnate forever." As soon as he finished speaking, Xian Chenzi began to prepare his divine ability. He used a powerful divine ability called the Flying Phoenix Claw. Then, a claw materialized in the void. It was a phoenix claw. The phoenix claw contained an extremely terrifying aura. That phoenix's claws were moving towards Lin Feng at full speed. It grabbed lightly. It seemed to be able to shatter the void. Facing the attack of the phoenix claw, Lin Feng's face? He couldn't help but reveal a sneer. He threw a punch at the phoenix claw. Bang! The sound of a violent collision was heard. The phoenix claw. It was Lin Feng. It was shattered with a punch. "Phoenix true ancestor," Xian Chenzi sneered. He used a new theurgy. Behind him, a gigantic fire phoenix appeared in the air. The fire phoenix let out a loud cry. Then, it quickly pounced towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng transformed into a yin-yang diagram. It swept towards the fire phoenix. However, it was sent flying by the fire phoenix. The fire phoenix had an immortal body. It was hard to erase. Lin Feng was beaten back to his original form by the fire phoenix. His body couldn't help but fly backwards. What a powerful technique! Many people couldn't help but exclaim. Xian Chenzi was indeed worthy of being a top genius. He was actually so tyrannical. A battle of divine abilities. Now, he was slightly better. "Is Xian Chenzi's mother an expert of the Phoenix clan?" someone asked. "No, it should be his father. His father is very mysterious. Perhaps he is a top expert of the Phoenix clan, but who his father is unknown," someone said. At this moment, the fire phoenix once again charged towards Lin Feng. Sharp claws. It fiercely clawed at Lin Feng. That claw. It was very terrifying. It was as if it could easily shatter the void. Facing the fire phoenix's attack, Lin Feng used another absolute art. A terrifying fluctuation surged out from Lin Feng's body. Then, a true dragon flew out. True Dragon 9 styles. Evolving into a true dragon. In fact, Lin Feng had only obtained the first 5 styles. However, after successfully cultivating the first 5 styles, the last 4 styles were automatically evolved. And so, they formed an extremely complete True Dragon 9 styles. The True Dragon roared. The dragon's might spread for 100,000 miles. The True Dragon and the Fire Phoenix fought. In the end, both sides were annihilated. Primal Chaos Heavenly God Technique. Xian Chenzi's voice was indifferent as he continued to use a new divine ability. After the Primal Chaos Heavenly God technique was used, a Primal Chaos Heavenly God appeared. That Primal Chaos Heavenly God was at least 100 meters tall. It was like an ancient god that was born from the Primal Chaos. Its body exuded an extremely terrifying aura. After the Primal Chaos Heavenly God appeared, a fist blasted towards Lin Feng. "Break!" Lin Feng shouted coldly and swept his fist towards the Primal Chaos Heavenly God. However, the Primal Chaos Heavenly God's power was clearly beyond imagination. After colliding with the Primal Chaos Heavenly God, Lin Feng was actually sent flying by the Primal Chaos Heavenly God. Primal Chaos God Splitting Wave. The Primal Chaos Heavenly God suddenly roared. A special kind of wave condensed in the void. That special wave ruthlessly blasted Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng didn't even have time to stabilize his body before he was blown away again by that special ripple. Genius 1 second. Remember the site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5434. This guy's divine ability was really powerful. It made Lin Feng suffer a small loss. Lin Feng's expression became a little ugly. Very good. This is more interesting, Lin Feng said with an indifferent expression. He stepped forward in the void. Lin Feng used the imperial scripture. This was a very terrifying divine ability. When the Emperor's Sutra was unleashed, Qin Wentian's eyes lit up. The 9 Saint Emperors appeared. Every Saint Emperor was the ancestor of the human race. They were the human emperors of the 3 emperors. The human emperor descends, the gods kneel down. A low voice resounded between heaven and earth. Brilliant heavenly might. Vast and mighty. The aura was extremely terrifying. It was creepy. Feeling the pressure of the human emperor, many people couldn't help but kneel on the ground. They knelt down to the 9 human emperors. Actually, the 9 human emperors of the human race were different from the other titled gods. For example, the evil god, a titled god. The first evil god was an extremely terrifying existence. But starting from the second evil god, the strength of these evil gods began to decline significantly. Basically, they were getting worse with each generation. In fact, it wasn't just the titled gods like the evil god. There were also many titled gods. For example, the fire god, the evil ancestor, and other titled gods were all like this. In the history of the titled gods' inheritance, it was rare for the 9 generations of titled gods to have a balanced strength. But the 9 human emperors of the human race's inheritance, their strength was more balanced. The first human emperor was rumored to be Fuxi. His strength was strong. Naturally, there was nothing to say. And the human emperors behind him, they were equally powerful. They could compete with Fuxi. This was the extraordinary part of the 9 human emperors. It was reflected in the divine ability. The imperial scripture summoned the 9 human emperors. 9 human emperors' shadows. They were definitely the kind of existence that could destroy the world. After the 9 human emperors' voices fell, an invisible force. He instantly blasted out. Bang! It was an invisible force. It viciously slammed into the heavenly chaos god's body. That heavenly god of primal chaos was actually extremely powerful. But so what? Although the heavenly god of primal chaos was extremely powerful, he was still no match for the 9 human emperors. There was still a long way to go. The heavenly primal chaos god was unable to withstand the power of the 9 human emperors. Thus, the heavenly primal chaos god's body directly shattered. The 9 Renhuangs looked coldly at Xianqinzi. Human Tao flourishing. The 9 Renhuangs spoke at the same time. The power of Renhuang was condensed. Then, he charged straight at Xianqinzi. Xianqinzi formed hand seals with both hands. A huge energy shield was instantly formed. The energy shield protected Xianqinzi. Xianqinzi wanted to use the energy shield to block the attacks of the 9 human sovereigns. However, Xianqinzi had obviously underestimated just how powerful the attacks of the 9 human emperors were. When the attacks of the 9 human emperors landed on the energy shield, the energy barrier was instantly shattered. Subsequently, the attacks of the 9 Renhuangs landed on Xianqinzi. Xianqinzi was sent flying. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Seeing this scene, many people couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Although Xianqinzi had been crushed by Lin Feng's physical body previously, he had almost died. However, in everyone's opinion, if it was a battle of magical powers, Xianqinzi would definitely be able to gain an advantage. After all, Xianqinzi's realm was there for all to see. Although Lin Feng was very heaven-defying, compared to Xianqinzi's realm, there was still a big gap. This was where Xianqinzi's advantage lay. But in fact, Xian Qinzi had indeed gained a certain advantage just now. But in the blink of an eye, all the advantages were gone. I knew that Lin Feng was extremely strong, said Lin Feng. Xian Yuan Ruhan said. Tao Tai looked at the chattering Xian Yuan Ruhan and felt a little helpless. They were just watching the battle. Was there a need to make such a fuss? The attacks of the 9 human emperors didn't end there. The 9 human emperors continued to attack Xian Qinzi. One attack after another. Xian Qinzi was forced into a very sorry state. Phoenix Shield! Xian Qinzi shouted coldly and took out a shield. He held the shield in his hand. When the attacks of the 9 human sovereigns came crashing down, they were all blocked by Xian Qinzi's shield. Xian Qinzi's shield was extraordinary. It had an extremely strong defense. Kid, I want your life. Xian Qinzi's cold voice sounded. The current Xian Qinzi. He was quite annoyed. Because he originally thought that when he used his magical powers to attack Lin Feng, he would completely suppress Lin Feng. But the reality was not like that. This made Xian Qinzi extremely depressed. Xian Qinzi once again activated his magical powers. 8 desolates in 6 directions, only I am supreme. Xian Qinzi attacked. This was a peerless and domineering magical power. 8 desolates in 6 directions actually referred to this endless world. Only I am supreme. It meant that between heaven and earth, he was supreme. Xian Qinzi used the power of the Phoenix Shield to block the attacks of the 9 human emperors. Then, he quickly charged towards Lin Feng. His 8 desolates in 6 directions, the attacks of the Only I Am Supreme technique bombarded the bodies of the 9 human emperors. The 9 human emperors were all shaken. What a powerful magical power! Lin Feng could not help but frown. This kind of battle was actually a little unfair. Because the attacks of the 9 human emperors would be neutralized by the Phoenix Shield. But the 9 human emperors had to resist Xian Qinzi's attacks head-on. After all, the 9 human emperors were only manifestations of magical powers. As time passed, their power was constantly weakening. Xian Qinzi continuously swept out 9 attacks. Finally, the 9 human emperors summoned by Lin Feng were shattered. Xian Qinzi charged in front of Lin Feng and swept a fist towards Lin Feng. Bang! Accompanied by the violent sound of collision. Lin Feng was sent flying by Xian Qinzi. Door of Eternal Life. Lin Feng's expression was cold as he condensed a new attack. The Door of Eternal Life descended from the sky. It suppressed Xian Qinzi. But Xian Qinzi's Phoenix Shield was too extraordinary. It actually blocked the attack of the Door of Eternal Life. Then, Xian Qinzi used the 8 desolates in 6 directions, the Only I Am Supreme technique. It broke Lin Feng's Door of Eternal Life. Lin Feng could not help but frown slightly. Xian Qinzi's Phoenix Shield seemed to be somewhat unbreakable. It was really a powerful treasure. This treasure made Lin Feng a little tempted. Lin Feng continued to use a new attack. The Gate of Karma and the Plate of Samsara. Lin Feng summoned the Gate of Karma and the Plate of Samsara. The attacks released by the Gate of Karma and the Plate of Samsara blasted towards Xian Qinzi. Xian Qinzi sneered and still used his Phoenix Shield to block. The Gate of Karma and the Plate of Samsara were once again neutralized by Xian Qinzi. Your defensive magic treasure is actually so powerful? Lin Feng's expression was a little unsightly. Xian Qinzi sneered and said, My Phoenix Shield was refined from a Phoenix Immortal Crystal. No attack can break my Phoenix Shield. With this treasure, I can even compete with some saints. So, don't waste your time. Today you're dead. I'll slaughter you like a dog. As soon as he finished speaking, Xian Qinzi increased his speed and quickly charged towards Lin Feng. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5435. Xian Qinzi was very arrogant. However, this guy did have the right to be arrogant. The main thing was that this guy's defense was invincible. He couldn't break the other party's defense. How could he fight this battle? One had to know, Xian Qinzi's attack was equally powerful. If he couldn't break Xianqinzi's defense, and was swept by Xianqinzi's attack, at that time, it would be quite troublesome. Xianqinzi's body seemed to have fused with the Phoenix Shield. Xianqinzi and the Phoenix Shield turned into a peerless flame-cold light. That flame-cold light slashed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He didn't believe that he couldn't break Xianqinzi's defense. Facing Xianqinzi's attack, Lin Feng used the Great Curse technique. Puff! Xianqinzi and the immortal light that he had transformed into were broken by Lin Feng's Great Curse technique. Xianqinzi was beaten back to his original form. Then, his body flew backwards. There was a bloody hole in his chest. Ah! Xianqinzi roared in pain. He was originally full of confidence. He wanted to kill Lin Feng in one go. But suddenly he was injured by Lin Feng. This kind of blow. It was really too big. It really made Xianqinzi sullen to death. Curse technique? You actually know how to use curse technique? Xianqinzi looked at Lin Feng angrily. Yes, can't I? Lin Feng replied with a sneer. Many runes appeared on the surface of Xianqinzi's body. Those runes. They directly protected Xianqinzi's body. When Lin Feng used his cursing technique against Xianqinzi again, Xianqinzi's expression changed. The runes outside Xianqinzi's body blocked Lin Feng's curse technique attack. Lin Feng frowned. But then he felt relieved. Xianqinzi was such a powerful existence. It was very normal for him to know how to dispel curse technique. I want to sweep through the world. I want to step on your corpse and forge my glory, Xianqinzi roared. He charged at Lin Feng again. His dermic powers continued to pour into the Phoenix Shield. With the influx of a large amount of magic power, the fluctuations emitted by the Phoenix Shield were getting stronger and stronger. Divine light emanated from the Phoenix Shield. It wrapped around Xianqinzi. Xianqinzi and the Phoenix Shield merged into one again. As Xianqinzi was already on guard against Lin Feng could not use his great curse technique to break Xianqinzi's state. Lin Feng hurriedly activated his sovereign armor to protect himself. At this moment, Xianqinzi had already arrived and slammed into Lin Feng. Lin Feng was sent flying. The force of the collision was truly too terrifying. Lin Feng felt his blood and qi churn, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. One had to realize that Lin Feng was wearing the sovereign's armor, yet he still suffered such a powerful collision. If it were anyone else, they would have been knocked into by Xianqinzi. Even if they didn't die, they would probably be seriously injured. Lin Feng used the void travel technique and quickly got rid of Xianqinzi. However, Xianqinzi had already locked onto Lin Feng. Lin Feng had just teleported from the void to the real world. Xianqinzi had already appeared. Xianqinzi once again crashed into Lin Feng's body. Now, Xianqinzi and the Phoenix Shield had merged into one. The Phoenix Shield seemed to not only have a strong defense, but it should also be a treasure that combined both attack and defense. Therefore, its power was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng was sent flying for the second time. Crack! Crack! Lin Feng felt as if his bones were broken. This made Lin Feng extremely depressed. Xianqinzi, this guy, had such abnormal battle strength. That human young master is in trouble. Xianqinzi and the Phoenix Shield merged into one is simply unsolvable. Yeah, if he can't think of a way to break it, that human young master will definitely die. Many cultivators began to discuss. The battle had been going on for so long, and the outcome was about to be decided. Lin Feng was really too passive now. Aya, this is troublesome. Xian Yuanruhan was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. But now, she could only be anxious and couldn't help. Even Taotia's expression couldn't help but become serious. He also realized that Xianqinzi was really too powerful. Lin Feng was really in big trouble now. Before, Taotai was still full of confidence in Lin Feng, thinking that Lin Feng would definitely be able to defeat Xianqinzi. But now, Taotai couldn't help but worry about Lin Feng's safety. Bang! 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 Every time Lin Feng got rid of Xianqinzi, Xianqinzi would catch up to him. Lin Feng was very depressed because he realized that Xianqinzi seemed to want to kill him alive. Now, Lin Feng's body had many broken bones. If it wasn't for the ruler's armor, perhaps the situation would be even worse. Lin Feng knew that he couldn't continue like this. He activated the ruler's armor, the magic lotus, the stone man clone, the saint bone, and the golden dwarf. With the support of these powers, Lin Feng's battle strength began to increase greatly. Then, Lin Feng displayed the 15-fold domineering magnetic field. The 15-fold domineering magnetic field fiercely hit Xian Qinzi, who was flying over. Bang! Accompanied by the earth-shaking sound of a violent collision, Xian Qinzi and the Phoenix Shield were sent flying. Domineering was domineering. The domineering attack was really terrifying. Under the impact of the domineering magnetic field, Xian Qinzi and the Phoenix Shield's state of fusion was broken by Lin Feng. Xian Qinzi's face suddenly became extremely ugly. He estimated. He didn't expect Lin Feng to be able to break his state. This made Xian Qinzi's mood very bad. However, Xian Qinzi still had a trump card. He coldly looked at Lin Feng and said, "I'll let you experience my Tao. Phoenix Domain. I'm the master." As soon as Xian Qinzi finished speaking, he directly condensed a flame domain, which blasted toward Lin Feng. Lin Feng was instantly enveloped by Xian Qinzi's flame domain. When the flame domain pressed down, the void began to shatter. Oh my god, Xian Qinzi's Tao can actually shatter the void. This is too terrifying. That human cultivator is dead for sure. Many people couldn't help but exclaim. This should be Xian Qinzi's strongest attack. It was even more powerful than the previous attack combined with the Phoenix Shield. Xian Qinzi's expression was indifferent. He looked at Lin Feng coldly as if he was looking at a dead man. At this moment, Lin Feng stepped forward. In all the worlds in the heavens, I am the supreme. Any great Tao will be trampled under my feet, Lin Feng said with a cold smile. He displayed his supreme Tao. Lin Feng's supreme Tao might not have such a strong attacking power at this stage. It was not even as strong as Xian Qinzi's Phoenix Domain. However, the supreme Tao was an existence that surpassed all other Taos. Lin Feng's supreme Tao was not fully developed. However, it could suppress all other Taos. This was the terrifying part of the supreme Tao. It could suppress all other Taos. No Taos could resist the suppression of the supreme Tao. After Lin Feng displayed his supreme Tao, he instantly broke Xian Qinzi's Phoenix Domain. Then, Lin Feng teleported and arrived next to Xian Qinzi before Xian Qinzi had time to react. He used his palm as a sword. A sword she flew out and directly beheaded Xian Qinzi. Chapter 5436. Xian Qinzi hadn't been able to complete his nirvana rebirth. After his head was chopped off, he was beheaded. Xian Qinzi had completely fallen. After seeing Xian Qinzi fall, Lin Feng couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. This guy was really hard to deal with. If Lin Feng didn't have the ruler's armor, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Xian Qinzi. In addition, Lin Feng had many terrifying techniques. He might have really died at Xian Qinzi's hands. Lin Feng put away Xian Qinzi's treasures. Then, he flicked his finger. A ball of flame flew out. Xian Qinzi's corpse. It was burned to ashes. It's over. This battle is over. Xian Qinzi actually fell just like that. He was a genius of a generation, but he was killed. Is that human young master really the son of the sage emperor? He's so young, but he's so terrifying. If he's not the son of the sage emperor, I don't think many people would believe him. I'm not sure. Maybe he had some other fortuitous encounter? Although his cultivation level isn't particularly high, his battle strength is too strong. His accumulation of power must be extremely powerful. I wonder what kind of terrifying existence he'll become in the future. Yeah, once he grows up, he'll definitely become a supreme existence. Many people couldn't help but start discussing. At this moment, the restrictions on the arena of life and death disappeared. Xianyuan Rehan shouted, Lin Feng, we're here! Lin Feng saw Xianyuan Rehan. Then, he flew towards Xianyuan Rehan. Little bastard, I'll take your life! An angry roar came from the crowd. Next, a cultivator soared into the sky and charged towards Lin Feng. This cultivator was none other than Xian Qinzi. It was Hong Qitian, that old bastard. Xian Qinzi's status was extraordinary. But now, he had fallen in his territory. Hong Qitian had no way of explaining this to his superiors. Now, Hong Qitian only wanted to kill Lin Feng and take Lin Feng's head back. If that was the case, perhaps he could lessen his punishment. That human young master just went through a life-and-death battle, and Hong Qitian immediately attacked him. Isn't he too shameless? Isn't that so? Many people began to curse. Hong Qitian did not care about what others were saying. He only had one thought in mind. That was to kill Lin Feng. Seeing Hong Qitian charging at him, Lin Feng sneered. It would have been fine if this fellow didn't make a move. He couldn't be bothered to pay attention to this old man. However, if this old man dared to make a move, Lin Feng naturally didn't mind killing this old man. Of course. Lin Feng knew how powerful Hong Qitian was. After all, he had survived when he was trying to break through to the Sang realm. Over the years, he had stabilized himself. His battle prowess must have become even more powerful. He was probably much stronger than Xian Qinzi. However, Lin Feng was unafraid. Because. Does Lin Feng still have helpers? Wan Shitian, hurry up and help! Lin Feng shouted. Do you need my help with such a small matter? The Taotai couldn't help but mutter. But he didn't refuse. He soared into the sky and flew toward Hong Qitian. Lin Feng also charged toward Hong Qitian. Seeing Lin Feng and Wan Shitian charging at him, Hong Qitian's expression suddenly changed. Hong Qitian was very powerful. Naturally, his perception was also very strong. Although he didn't know what Wan Shitian's true body was, he could feel an extremely terrifying aura from Wan Shitian's body. If he was surrounded by Lin Feng and Wan Shitian, it was also possible that he would die here. You have the advantage in numbers. Let's fight again next time, Hong Qitian said coldly. Then, he turned around and fled. Lin Feng couldn't help but be slightly stunned. Then, he smiled bitterly. He really didn't expect Hong Qitian to turn around and run. The battle hadn't even started. Shouldn't he have waited for a while before running? He felt that it was a little tricky and ran away. Lin Feng was speechless when he saw that guy. Don't run. Lin Feng quickly chased after Hong Qitian. If possible, Lin Feng still wanted to kill Hong Qitian. Who asked this guy to attack him before? The Taotai and Lin Feng chased after Wan Shitian together. Many people were a little surprised. This was a scene that no one had expected. Damn, Hong Qitian is a guy without balls. He's simply a coward, someone said disdainfully. What do you know? This is called a wise man submits to circumstances. Then, someone retorted. Hurry up and wait for me. Xian Yuan Ruhan soared into the sky and quickly chased after them. She was the kind of person who wanted to see the world in chaos. How could she not be involved in the pursuit of Hong Qitian? Although it was because of her background. She couldn't help Lin Feng blatantly deal with Hong Qitian. But she could cheer for Lin Feng. But Hong Qitian's methods were indeed very powerful. Lin Feng and the others couldn't catch up with Hong Qitian. In the end, Hong Qitian escaped. After returning to Xianwen City, Lin Feng and the Taotai robbed the 5 trading companies of Futian Grotto and Xianwen City. Lin Feng was so cruel, who would dare to resist? So, the people of the trading companies basically obediently brought Lin Feng and the Taotai into the treasury. All kinds of treasures were piled up like mountains. Apart from those treasures, high-grade immortal stones were also piled up like mountains. Damn, that guy really got rich. Previously, he extorted more than 30 billion from 14 top forces. Now, he robbed the 5 trading companies of Futian Grotto. The high-grade immortal stones of the 5 trading companies, including the items, should be worth at least 300 billion high-grade immortal stones, right? Someone said. They were filled with envy and jealousy towards Lin Feng. But when they thought about how Lin Feng had offended a terrifying force like Futian Grotto, The envy in his heart instantly vanished into thin air. What kind of force was Futian Grotto? It was one of the 4 overlords of the eastern region. Who would dare to provoke them? Provoking them was no different from courting death. So, in many people's eyes, Futian Grotto would definitely send out a top expert. Even a Saint Realm expert would come to kill Lin Feng. Lin Feng was indeed powerful. Even Xianqinzi had been killed by Lin Feng. But everyone could see it. Although Lin Feng had killed Xianqinzi, the process of killing Xianqinzi was also extremely thrilling. So, Lin Feng could not possibly be a match for a Saint Realm expert. When a Futian Grotto Saint Realm expert attacked, how would Lin Feng block it? What happened in the outside world, the discussions of the outside world, Lin Feng did not pay too much attention to it. Lin Feng was currently in seclusion. He took out Xianqinzi's storage ring. Lin Feng's divine consciousness invaded Xianqinzi's storage ring. Swoosh! There was a flash of light. The mysterious metal box immediately flew out. After seeing the mysterious metal box, Lin Feng let out a long breath. The mysterious metal box was finally back in his hands. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5437. The mysterious metal box had an extraordinary meaning to Lin Feng. Although Lin Feng was still filled with many doubts and puzzlement towards the mysterious metal box, he was even a little afraid of the terrifying power of the mysterious metal box. However, to be honest, the mysterious metal box had helped Lin Feng avert danger several times. So, this treasure was a treasure that Lin Feng had to grasp in his hands. Lin Feng kept the mysterious metal box and continued to search for other treasures. As the son of the Vice Cave Master of the Futian Cave, and he was a descendant of the Phoenix clan, Xianqinzi naturally had a lot of good things. There was no need to talk about the Phoenix Shield. Lin Feng took out the Phoenix Shield and tried to refine this treasure. After Lin Feng's consciousness invaded the Phoenix Shield, he immediately heard a venomous roar. I actually died in the hands of a little bastard like you. Do you know who my father is? You dare to kill me? Just you wait, you will definitely die a miserable death. This was a remnant of Xianqinzi's consciousness. This consciousness had never dissipated and had been preserved until now. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he directly destroyed Xianqinzi's consciousness. Since Lin Feng dared to deal with Xianqinzi, he would not be afraid of the rankers behind Xianqinzi coming to find trouble with him. After Lin Feng successfully refined the Phoenix Shield, he carefully observed it. Lin Feng immediately discovered that there were many long-lost mysterious runes engraved on the Phoenix Shield. It seemed, the Phoenix Shield should have an extremely long history. As for this kind of rune, perhaps it was the Phoenix clan's rune. The Phoenix clan had a long history, and was powerful. It was one of the most ancient and powerful races. Of course, the Phoenix clan was also divided into many branches. Lin Feng didn't know where Xianqinzi's father was from, but he didn't know. However, no matter where the Phoenix clan was, it didn't matter. This was because Lin Feng had the Phoenix Grimoire, which was the supreme inheritance of the Phoenix clan. It could suppress many of the Phoenix clan's sacred arts. However, Lin Feng was not proficient in the Phoenix Grimoire. The power of the Phoenix Grimoire could not be unleashed. Lin Feng decided to train the Phoenix Grimoire properly during this period of time. By then, he would no longer have to fear the Phoenix clan's divine ability. As for the Phoenix Shield, it was still very important to Lin Feng. This was because Lin Feng had seen Xianqinzi activate the Phoenix Shield. How heaven-defying was the Phoenix Shield! Not to mention other things, just the defensive power of the Phoenix Shield was really too strong. Just imagine. The Dominator's armor and the Phoenix Shield were activated at the same time. When the time comes, he should be able to neutralize the attacks of some early-stage Saint Realm experts. If that was the case, that would be too heaven-defying. Think about it. All of them felt extremely excited. Lin Feng continued to search Xianqinzi's storage ring. Xianqinzi, on the other hand, had too many good things in his storage ring. All kinds of immortal metals, divine stones, heavenly materials, earthly treasures, and so on were piled up like a mountain. Lin Feng actually wanted to find some sort of immortal scripture inheritance from Xian Qinzi. But what a pity! Lin Feng didn't manage to find it. However, Lin Feng had already expected this situation. After all, it was a powerful inheritance. Usually, it would be remembered by people and didn't need to be written into scriptures. In Xian Qinzi's storage ring, Lin Feng found a demonic pagoda. When he saw the demonic pagoda, Lin Feng couldn't help but be slightly stunned. This was because Lin Feng felt that the demonic pagoda looked very familiar. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. Where had he seen that demonic pagoda before? It's that demonic pagoda! Lin Feng suddenly thought of the demonic pagoda that had been split apart. The demonic pagoda that had something to do with the fall of the heaven-devouring demon lord and the heaven-devouring demon emperor. After it was split into two, the two parts of the demonic pagoda fought very fiercely and devoured each other. However, no one could do anything to the other. A few years ago, when Lin Feng was in the Undying Realm, he had seen the first and second demonic pagoda. This demonic pagoda in front of him seemed to be an imitation of the first demonic pagoda. The reason why Lin Feng couldn't tell just now was that the first and second demonic pagoda he saw before had already been split apart. They were only part of the original demonic pagoda. However, this demonic pagoda was a complete demonic pagoda. After seeing this demonic pagoda, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. Who would create such a demonic pagoda that was an imitation of the first demonic pagoda? Lin Feng summoned this demonic pagoda. The 9th floor of the demonic pagoda, it emitted an ancient and immortal aura. This demonic pagoda, although it was an imitation, it was definitely not simple. Lin Feng entered the demonic pagoda. He couldn't see anything special about the demonic pagoda. Is there a god in the demonic pagoda? If there is, quickly come and see me, Lin Feng said in a deep voice. However, there was no reply to Lin Feng. Are there no gods? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. His divine consciousness invaded the demonic pagoda and successfully refined it. After refining the demonic pagoda, Lin Feng began to try to sense if there was a god in the demonic pagoda. Soon Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Because this demonic pagoda, there really was a god. However, the god was in a deep sleep. God, wake up! Lin Feng called out. However, the god ignored Lin Feng. God, wake up! Lin Feng continued to call out. The god still ignored Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. He carefully sensed and found that something seemed to have happened to the god. Therefore, right now, he was in a deep slumber. Therefore, he couldn't wake it up. Initially, Lin Feng wanted to ask the god some questions. Since he couldn't wake the god up, he would have to wait until the god woke up, and then he'd ask the god. After Lin Feng put away the demonic pagoda, he continued to search the storage ring to see if there were any other special items. Huh! Soon, Lin Feng revealed an astonished expression, because he really did find something else. It was a treasured cauldron. The most important thing wasn't that the cauldron was precious, but that the item sealed within it was rather precious. Sealed within the cauldron was a golden body of energy. Lin Feng didn't know what that golden body of energy was. However, he had a feeling that the golden body of energy wasn't simple at all. Lin Feng took out the cauldron. Demon Lord! Take a look at the golden body of energy sealed within the cauldron, said Lin Feng telepathically. The Demon Lord glanced at it, then said in astonishment, It's Golden Phoenix Immortal Elixir. Golden Phoenix Immortal Elixir? What's that? Lin Feng asked in astonishment. This was the first time he had heard of such a thing. The Demon Lord explained. Phoenixes live on parasol trees, and these parasol trees transform into immortal trees that connect to the spirit veins of heaven and earth. They can give birth to a type of immortal elixir called Golden Phoenix Immortal Elixir. Can all parasol trees give birth to Golden Phoenix Immortal Elixir? Lin Feng asked. After hearing Lin Feng's question, The demon lord couldn't help but roll his eyes. He was speechless. Do you think that's possible? Only the parasol tree that the phoenixes view as a sacred tree can give birth to golden phoenix immortal elixir. What's the use of this thing? Lin Feng asked. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5438. The Demon Lord said, "It can help cultivators improve their soul realm." Oh? There's such an effect? Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. Back then, Lin Feng had refined 5 soul essence pills. His soul had already broken through to the first level of the Saint Immortal realm. During this period of time, Lin Feng's cultivation had improved greatly. So, Lin Feng's soul realm had already reached the peak of the Saint Immortal realm. After the peak of the Saint Immortal realm, there were 2 choices. The first choice was to break through to the quasi-saint realm. This was a transitional realm. Cultivators could choose to break through to this realm, or they could choose not to. If they did not choose to break through to this realm, then they could choose the second path. That was to directly break through to the saint realm. Actually, at least 95% of the cultivators in the world of cultivators chose to break through to the quasi-saint realm, and then slowly settle down. Only a very small number of people chose to break through directly. Because it was too difficult to break through directly. First break through to the quasi-saint realm and settle down for a period of time before choosing to break through. This way, the chances of success would be higher. However, 2 different ways of breaking through. The increase in strength and potential was different as well. Breaking through directly was the transition to the quasi-saint realm. The increase in strength was more. The increase in potential was more. So, if he could break through directly, it would be best if he broke through directly. Lin Feng felt that his soul realm was only one opportunity away from breaking through to the saint realm. Or rather, he was only one opportunity away. In the past, Lin Feng had been thinking, how should he break through to the soul realm? If he broke through directly, Lin Feng was not confident. Therefore, he was more conflicted about whether to break through to the quasi-saint realm first. Settle down for a period of time. Then choose to break through. Now, Lin Feng did not have to worry about this matter anymore. Golden Phoenix Immortal Elixir. It could help Lin Feng complete the transformation. Lin Feng began to refine the Golden Phoenix Immortal Elixir. He was extremely looking forward to his soul breaking through to the saint realm. Because, once his soul broke through to the saint realm, his comprehension of the Tao would reach a higher level. This would bring endless benefits to one's cultivation. The pure energy of the Golden Phoenix Immortal Elixir was completely absorbed by Lin Feng. Lin Feng felt unprecedentedly comfortable. His soul felt warm and comfortable. His soul power was constantly increasing. In the end, Lin Feng's soul had broken through to the saint realm in a gentle way. This made Lin Feng very surprised. Because, previously, Lin Feng felt that even if he could break through, it would also be very difficult. However, who would have thought that, now, the breakthrough was as natural as water flowing through a canal? He did not encounter any difficulties. Lin Feng exited seclusion. Xianyuan Rohan came to Lin Feng and said mysteriously, "I heard that the main branch of Fu Tian Cave already knows what happened here. Some saints will come to kill you," said Lin Feng, shaking his head. Lin Feng replied, "I already thought of that. But don't worry, by the time the other party came here, I had already left." Xianyuan Rohan continued, "I heard another piece of news." "What news?" Lin Feng asked. "That Qi Ningtian is looking for information about you," Xianyuan Rohan said. "Oh? Qi Ningtian is looking for information about me?" Lin Feng could not help but frown. He felt that this matter was not simple. Logically speaking, Qi Ningtian should not be looking for information about him. After all, he did not have much interaction with Qi Ningtian. But Qi Ningtian did. What was his motive? Was it because of the Red World Fairy? No. He had yet to meet immortal Venerable Hung Chen. Qi Ningtian could not know that he and the Red World Fairy were old friends. Then, there was only one other reason. Qi Ningtian was looking for him. Was it because Qi Ningtian was suspecting his identity? Qi Ningtian was a very terrifying existence. His eyes were sharp. His battle with Xian Qinzi, although it was hidden deep. But he could not be sure. Qi Ningtian had a way to find out which family his bloodline was from. The Lord of the 33 Heavens was not a good person. That year, many bloodlines were defined as sinners' blood. These guys had been adding fuel to the fire behind the scenes. So, the Lord of the 33 Heavens definitely did not want a top sinner's bloodline to rise. The Red World Fairy also belonged to the sinner's bloodline. Back then, the Red World Fairy was too heaven-defying and was targeted by the Lord of the 33 Heavens. So, the Lord of the 33 Heavens wanted to get rid of the Red World Fairy. That was why he sent experts to kill the Red World Fairy. I will pay attention to this matter, Lin Feng said. Xianyuan Rehan said. Qi Ningtian is not a good person. You have to be careful. Anyway, try not to clash with him. Isn't he going to have a life and death battle with the Red World Fairy? He might be killed by the Red World Fairy. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. At night, someone came to visit Lin Feng. This surprised Lin Feng. Because he did not know many people in Xianwen City. There were even fewer people who knew where he lived. Lin Feng asked the servant to bring the person who had come to visit him. Lin Feng discovered that it was a servant girl. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that this servant girl was just a messenger. When the servant girl saw Lin Feng, she bowed to Lin Feng. Lin Feng asked her to rise and then asked, "Who is your master?" The servant girl said, "My master is the leader of Sandstorm City's Heaven Rain Pavilion, Murong Wanhua." It's her. Lin Feng was surprised. Murong Wanhua's face appeared in his mind. Murong Wanhua was an extremely beautiful woman. That kind of charming and mature temperament was not something an ordinary woman could possess. That woman. Incomparably charming. Who knew how many men were drooling over her? However, Lin Feng knew that Murong Wanhua was not a simple woman. This woman was full of secrets. Moreover, her origin was definitely extraordinary. Or else, she was a woman. How could she be the leader of Sandstorm City's Heaven Rain Pavilion? I didn't expect Fairy Murong to come to Xianwen City. May I know why Fairy Murong is here? Lin Feng asked. I'm here to attend a good friend's birthday party. I thought that young master would also be here, so I sent this servant here to meet young master. The servant girl said. Lin Feng muttered in his heart. Cultivators in the world of cultivators rarely celebrated birthdays. He guessed that the person celebrating his birthday was from a large family. However, Lin Feng did not pay too much attention to this matter. Lin Feng asked, "Where is your master now?" In a courtyard under the jurisdiction of Heaven Rain Pavilion. A beast carriage has already been prepared outside. Young master can leave with this servant. When the time comes, you will naturally be able to meet my master. The servant girl said. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5439. Lin Feng left with the servant girl. After getting on the carriage, Lin Feng closed his eyes and began to rest. Lin Feng naturally didn't think that Murong Wanhua simply wanted to meet him. Lin Feng had a feeling that Murong Wanhua might have other motives, but Lin Feng didn't know what they were for now. Lin Feng would have to wait until he met Murong Wanhua before he could ask her. An hour later, the carriage arrived at its destination. Lin Feng walked down from the carriage and found that they were in a beautiful garden. This garden had ancient trees that provided shade, pavilions, rockeries, and strange rocks. There were small bridges and flowing water. It was a beautiful sight. However, Lin Feng wasn't in the mood to admire the scenery. Under the servant girl's lead, Lin Feng met Murong Wanhua again in a pavilion by a small lake. Murong Wanhua was as beautiful as ever. After they sat down, Murong Wanhua smiled and said, Lin Gongzi, did you not expect that we would meet here? Lin Feng said. Indeed, I didn't expect that. I thought that if nothing unexpected happened, I wouldn't be able to meet you again. Murong Wanwei asked. Then, do you still want to see me in your heart? Murong Wanwei asked. She even winked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. What did Murong Wanwei mean by asking that question? Did she want to seduce him? Or did she have other motives? He didn't know. Lin Feng smiled and said, Since you're so charming, I naturally want to see you. Now that I'm able to see you here, I'm very happy. Murong Wanwei said. I'm overjoyed that you can think like that. Murong Wanwei poured a cup of tea for Lin Feng and said, I came here to celebrate a friend's birthday. That friend gave me this immortal tea. Have a taste, sir. Lin Feng didn't drink the tea immediately. Instead, he said, I'm basking in your glory. Lin Feng took a sip. He then said, This tea is very fragrant. After drinking it, I feel refreshed. It's a rare tea. Lin Feng said. If you like it, I can pack some tea leaves for you later. Lin Feng said. As the saying goes, a gentleman doesn't take what others like. This is a gift from your friend, so you should keep it for yourself. Murong Wanwei didn't continue talking about this matter. She smiled and said, Actually, I invited you here today because I wanted to catch up with you and also because I received a rather important piece of news. I just happened to tell you about it. What news? Lin Feng asked calmly. I heard that Qi Ningtian has already sent people to spy on you. It seems like he wants to attack you. Murong Wanwei said. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. He hadn't thought that Murong Wanwei would bring him such news. In the past, Xianyuan Ruhan had reminded him that Qi Ningtian had sent people to investigate him. After all, Xianyuan Ruhan didn't have a way to get information. Therefore, she was unable to find out some information, but Murong Wanwei was able to. Since Qi Ningtian had sent people to spy on him, it meant that Qi Ningtian had already confirmed his identity. He didn't know. Had Qi Ningtian told the masters of the 33 heavens about his identity? Maybe not. After all, this was a world where time had reversed. Lin Feng sank into deep thought. On the road, he didn't notice anything strange. If someone was following him, how could he not notice it at all? If he couldn't notice it at all, it meant three things. First, no one was following him, but that could be ruled out. Second, the people following him had some strange methods, so they could hide from him. Third, the cultivation of the people following him was simply too powerful. They were far beyond him. That was why he couldn't sense them. Lin Feng thought. The third possibility could also be ruled out. If they were really that strong, they would have joined forces with Qi Ningtian to kill the Red World Fairy long ago. There would have been no need to fight to the death. Thank you for telling me this, Fairy, Lin Feng said. How do you plan on thanking me? Murong Wanwei asked with a smile. How do you want me to thank you, Fairy? Lin Feng asked. I want you, Murong Wanwei said with a smile. Damn. So open? So bold? So bold? So passionate? Lin Feng was at a loss. Did he have to give himself to her? Lin Feng said. This isn't a good place, is it? Why don't we go back to the room? Murong Wanwei rolled her eyes at Lin Feng and said, What nonsense are you talking about? Fairy, you just said that you want me to. Lin Feng said. Murong Wanwei said, What I mean is, I want you to agree to a condition. Lin Feng was speechless. He smiled bitterly and said, Can you say it all at once? Murong Wanwei said with a smile. Sorry. Maybe I drank too much tea, so my throat was a bit dry. That's why I couldn't say anything. If Lin Feng believed Murong Wanwei's reason, then it would be strange. Murong Wanwei's words, Lin Feng didn't believe a single punctuation mark. What a seductive woman. Lin Feng couldn't help but think to himself. He then fiercely glanced at Murong Wanwei's charming figure. Murong Wanwei seemed to know that Lin Feng was looking at her, so she straightened her slender waist. Lin Feng said, If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. All right, Wanwe nodded and then said, "Don't forget that you owe me a favor." Lin Feng said, "Of course, I'll keep this in mind." Lin Feng was then sent off by Wanwe to Lin Feng's residence. He declined the beast carriage that Wanwe had sent. Instead, he walked towards his residence alone. Wanwe returned to the pavilion. When she came back, there was one more person there. It was a woman. A very beautiful woman. The woman was wearing a long red dress, and her skirt was parted. One could vaguely see some dazzling scenery through the dress. Her makeup was very wild, and her lips were flaming red. It seemed to indicate that her inner world was as hot as her makeup. "I want you." Seeing Wanwe return, the woman with flaming red lips suddenly laughed. "Little whore, you dare to make fun of me?" Wanwe walked over and reached out to tickle the woman with flaming red lips. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5440. Who's a little hussy? You're hinting at that Lin Feng, aren't you ashamed? You actually have the nerve to call me a little hussy? The woman naturally retaliated, unwilling to be outdone. She reached out to tickle Wanwe. One of the two women was charming and flirtatious. The other was flirtatious and charming, although they were different types of beauties. But the two women were the best of the best. It made people's hearts sway. The scene of the two women playing together was naturally an extremely erotic scene. It was just that no one could appreciate that scene. After playing around for a while, the woman with the fiery red lips said, "I think that you should take him. Once the rice is cooked, you'll be the daughter-in-law of that family." "Little hussy, you're still talking." Wanwe wanted to scratch the flirtatious woman again. The flirtatious woman quickly said, I was wrong. Don't tickle me anymore. I'm about to die from the itch. I'm the most ticklish. You're ticklish, yet you still dare to provoke me. You only have yourself to blame. Wanwe lightly snorted. However, she didn't continue to tickle the woman. I suspect that other than his identity as the Undying family, he has some other identities. I'm currently investigating. The woman with the fiery red lips said. Lin Feng had used his undying bloodline to heal during the battle. So, these people knew about Lin Feng's bloodline, so it wasn't surprising. If their methods were stronger, their foresight would be more unique. They could even discover that Lin Feng hadn't activated his sovereign emperor blood and destiny bloodline. However, Wanwe, the woman with the fiery red lips, didn't have the ability to discover this. At the very least, it would take a Saint Realm expert to discover Lin Feng's secrets. What do you suspect? Wanwe asked. I can't say. Perhaps there will be news soon, the woman with the fiery red lips said. This woman was also not simple. Because she was the lord of the Celestial Rain Tower. Celestial Rain City. It was a city even more important than Sandstorm City. To be able to become the lord of the Celestial Rain Tower, one could see how deep this woman's background was. His background should be deeper than Wanwe's. Miss, I'm back. At this moment, a voice rang out. Next. The void trembled slightly. An old woman walked out. How's the investigation going? The woman with flaming red lips asked. At this moment, she put away her seductive look. Instead, he looked very serious. Wanwe did not interrupt. Instead, he listened quietly. The old woman said, According to the information that we've gathered, as well as some important information, we've also found the divine mathematician Skyjade to do some calculations, and we've come to a shocking conclusion. What conclusion? The woman with flaming red lips asked. The surname Lin really is his surname, said the old woman. Hearing this, the woman with flaming red lips and Wanwe could not help but roll their eyes. Was this news even considered news? The old woman said. Don't worry, ladies. Determining whether or not he's using a fake name is a very important matter. The woman with flaming red lips and Wanwe did not speak. Instead, he listened quietly. Because they felt that the old woman should have more to say. In front of the Supreme Divine Court, the person who defeated all the heroes in the world also had the surname Lin, the old woman said. After hearing the old woman's words, the woman with flaming red lips and Murong Wanhua suddenly stood up. In the past, they were not qualified to reach that place. However, their fathers had been lucky enough to reach that place. In the past, that shocking battle, it had already become a widely circulated matter among some top forces. Defeating all the heroes in the world, who could compete with him? That person. No one knew how strong he was. Granny, do you mean? The woman with flaming red lips' voice trembled slightly. She thought of a possibility. However, she was not sure if it was really as she had guessed. Murong Wanhua also thought of that possibility. In her heart, it was as if a monstrous wave had been set off. Would it be as she had guessed? According to his age, he might be that person's son, the old woman said. The woman with flaming red lips took a deep breath. Then she laughed and said, Interesting, really interesting. If those terrifying existences know that that person's son has come to the world where time has reversed, I wonder what those fellows will think. Murong Wanhua frowned slightly and asked, Could it be that you want to spread his identity? No. The woman with flaming red lips smiled and said, If I spread it, I would have offended him. Let's just watch the show. Lin Feng walked on the street. Since Murong Wanhua said that he was being watched. Therefore, Lin Feng decided to find the person who was hiding in the dark. To be targeted by such a terrifying and strange person. This was an extremely bad thing. Lin Feng's divine sense spread out. He searched for the other party's aura. However, he found nothing. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. If he couldn't find the other party, there was no need to mention catching the other party. The other party's concealment technique was so powerful. If the other party ambushed him, he would be in great danger. This point, Lin Feng was very clear. How should he make that guy show himself? Lin Feng was somewhat vexed, because he didn't know where the other party was hiding. Thus, he naturally couldn't make the other party show himself. Go outside the city! The demon lord's voice resounded in Lin Feng's mind. Why are we going outside the city? Lin Feng asked curiously. There are too many people here. The other party is too easy to hide. Outside the city. It's easier to find. When we're outside the city, the other party might want to kill you or capture you. There's a high chance that he will take the initiative to show himself. The demon lord said. Lin Feng felt that the demon lord's words were very reasonable. Of course, the demon lord might be wrong. Perhaps, would the other party attack him? This was also a very likely thing. However, right now, Lin Feng needed to take a gamble. Lin Feng bet that that guy would attack him. If that guy didn't attack, then he would come back and think of a way. Lin Feng quickly rushed out of the city. At night, the city gates of Xianwen City were tightly shut. However, money could make the devil turn millstones. Lin Feng bribed the general guarding the city gates with 1 million high-tier immortal stones. The other party ordered people to open the city gates. Lin Feng left Xianwen City. In the darkness, pairs of terrifying eyes looked at Lin Feng. Outside Xianwen City, there were many terrifying creatures hibernating. Now, they saw Lin Feng walk out of Xianwen City. Those terrifying creatures surrounded Lin Feng. Many of them saw Lin Feng as their prey. Chapter 5441. Lin Feng's cultivation had increased greatly, and it was easier for him to deal with these terrifying creatures. When the terrifying creatures pounced on him, Lin Feng's body emitted a dazzling Buddhist light. At that moment, Lin Feng seemed to have transformed into a holy monk of Buddhism, so holy and otherworldly. The power of Buddhism can dispel all evil. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He struck out with his palm one after another, and his palm was surrounded by Buddhist light. The palm technique Lin Feng used was called the Great Compassion Palm, and it was a powerful palm technique passed down from Buddhism. Its power was extremely tyrannical, and the terrifying creatures collided with Lin Feng's palm technique. Those terrifying creatures were all slapped away. Unless there was an existence at the Sage Realm, ordinary terrifying creatures would not be able to do anything to Lin Feng. Lin Feng was like an immortal Buddha, fighting against the heavens and the earth, sweeping in all directions. A large number of terrifying creatures were sent flying by Lin Feng. Of course, it was not easy to kill those creatures. One had to pursue them while they were victorious in order to kill those terrifying creatures. Due to the large number of terrifying creatures. Therefore, after repelling some of the terrifying creatures, new terrifying creatures appeared, causing Lin Feng to be unable to kill the terrifying creatures that he had repelled. Just now, that guy left the city and fought with a group of dark creatures. What exactly did he do? Is he looking for dark creatures to hone his cultivation? Perhaps there really is such a possibility. There will always be some crazy fellows in the world. Some of the guards on the city wall couldn't help but mutter. While Lin Feng was fighting against those terrifying creatures, Lin Feng suddenly realized something. Behind Lin Feng, unexpectedly, a shadow appeared. To be precise, that shadow. It was a shadow that had been separated from Lin Feng's shadow. This situation was too strange. Within Lin Feng's shadow, there was actually another shadow hidden. Because the shadow was black. And it was still dark. So, the shadow that was separated from Lin Feng's shadow. He had perfectly concealed his aura. The shadow revealed a sinister look and directly attacked Lin Feng. His attack was about to hit Lin Feng. Suddenly, Lin Feng disappeared without a trace. Not good. The shadow's expression changed slightly. He had hidden himself so deeply. However, he was still discovered. This made him feel very incredulous. He wanted to hide quickly, but at this time, Lin Feng released his 15x domineering magnetic field. When Lin Feng released his 50-fold domineering magnetic field, this shadow was shrouded in the 50-fold domineering magnetic field. His concealment was interrupted. As for those dark creatures, they were sent flying by Lin Feng's domineering magnetic field. After feeling the terrifying aura of the domineering magnetic field, the dark creatures knew that Lin Feng was not an existence to be trifled with. At the very least, it was not an existence that they could contend against. Therefore, those dark creatures retreated one after another. Amazing, amazing! You were actually hiding in my shadow, but I was unable to discover you. Your ability is really terrifying. If I'm not wrong, you should be the legendary Shadow Devil, Lin Feng said with a sneer. Shadow Devil? A branch of the Devil clan. Sometimes it was also called Shadow Devil. It was simply a natural killer. In the past, Lin Feng had only seen the introduction of the Shadow Devil in the Tao scripture, but he had never seen the real Shadow Devil. Now, he had seen the real Shadow Devil. You are more difficult to deal with than I imagined. I am very curious, how did you find me? The Shadow Devil asked. His voice was extremely hoarse and unpleasant to the ears. Lin Feng said, It's very simple. I have the ability of sudden inspiration. If you don't appear, I might not be able to discover you. However, as long as you appear and threaten my life, I will definitely be able to discover you. The Shadow Devil said, My ability can deceive the heavens. The ability of sudden inspiration cannot sense my existence, so you don't have to lie to me. Lin Feng could not help but sneer. Ordinary sudden inspiration might not be able to sense the appearance of the Shadow Devil. However, Lin Feng's blood pressure was different from other people's blood pressure. Lin Feng's sudden inspiration ability was stronger and sharper. Perhaps there really was someone who could deceive the heavens. However, that kind of person was definitely in existence that surpassed Lin Feng by a lot. Although the Shadow Devil was powerful, however, it was still unable to truly ignore Lin Feng's sudden inspiration ability. Shwa! Lin Feng took out the Epic War Spear. Lin Feng held the Epic War Spear and directly charged towards the Shadow Devil. There was no need to talk too much to deal with the Shadow Devil. Lin Feng planned to kill the Shadow Devil and then search his soul. Presumably, the Shadow Devil should know a lot of things about the Heaven Realm, right? He even knew a lot of things about the Masters of the 33 Heavens. He could find out these things from the Shadow Devil. The Shadow Devil's battle strength was reduced by about 40% by Lin Feng's 50-fold domineering magnetic field. The main reason was that the Shadow Devil was too strong. If it was a weaker cultivator, his battle strength would be reduced by 50%. However, the reduction of 40% of his battle strength had a huge impact on his body. The Shadow Devil's battle strength had plummeted. Lin Feng's spear seemed to be able to pierce through the heavens. The Shadow Devil sneered as he faced Lin Feng's attack. He lightly waved his right hand. Then, a whip flew out. It was a black whip. It was very strange. The whip directly wrapped around Lin Feng's epic war spear. The Shadow Devil suddenly shook the whip. The whip reduced the power of the epic war spear. Using softness to overcome strength. Lin Feng's face darkened slightly. The epic war spear's attack was very violent. It destroyed everything with its powerful battle strength. This was the so-called ultimate strength. Therefore, it wanted to meet Lin Feng's epic war spear head-on. It was not easy. Obviously, the Shadow Devil's battle experience was very rich. He used the method of all things reinforcing and restraining each other to deal with Lin Feng. Using softness to overcome strength. It neutralized the attack of Lin Feng's epic war spear. The whip was also very strange. It was actually extending rapidly. It wrapped around Lin Feng. Humph! Lin Feng could not help but snort. 36 bamboo swords quickly flew out and slashed towards the Shadow Devil. The Shadow Devil was a devil. Naturally, it would be restrained by Lin Feng's 36 bamboo swords. Seeing the 36 bamboo swords quickly slashing towards him, the Shadow Devil's face darkened slightly. He had no choice but to stop attacking Lin Feng. He quickly took back his whip. Then, he quickly retreated. Kill! Lin Feng held the epic war spear and attacked the Shadow Devil again. The 36 bamboo swords also slashed towards the Shadow Devil. Chapter 54-42. Under the control of Lin Feng, the 36 bamboo swords completely locked onto the Shadow Devil. The 36 bamboo swords were a feint. If the 36 bamboo swords could injure or even kill the Shadow Devil, that would be the best. But if they couldn't do that, then Lin Feng still had a backup plan. Lin Feng's attack on the Shadow Devil with the epic war spear was a backup plan. The 36 bamboo swords vibrated with a terrifying wave. The Shadow Devil waved the black whip in his hand and lashed out. Bang! 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 His whip was extremely powerful. Lin Feng's bamboo sword was blown away by the force of the whip. But at this time, Lin Feng had already reached the Shadow Devil's side and stabbed his spear at the Shadow Devil. The Shadow Devil's reaction was very fast. When Lin Feng's spear was about to hit the Shadow Devil moved to the left. At the critical moment, the black silhouette had surprisingly dodged Lin Feng's spear. Lin Feng sneered, his right hand suddenly shook, and the epic war spear also shook. The trembling epic war spear burst out with an extremely terrifying power. The epic war spear fiercely whipped the Shadow Devil's body. The Shadow Devil was sent flying by Lin Feng's epic war spear. When his body was sent flying, the 36 bamboo swords attacked again. The Shadow Devil's expression changed slightly. Although he tried his best to avoid the bamboo swords, he was still hit by 3 bamboo swords. A tearing sound was heard. The 3 bamboo swords left 3 deep wounds on the Shadow Devil's body. Blood spurted out. The Shadow Devil was injured. Lin Feng's heart suddenly shook. Take advantage of his illness and kill him. Lin Feng quickly rushed forward and directly swept out a spear light. The spear light swept the Shadow Devil's body, and the Shadow Devil was sent flying. After receiving Lin Feng's terrifying attack, the Shadow Devil's body. He was almost cut in half by Lin Feng's attack. Ah! The shadow demon roared furiously. You ant, how dare you injure me so badly? I'll kill you! Lin Feng was speechless. Someone who is about to die actually has the nerve to call me an ant. Can you have some shame? Lin Feng once again charged towards the shadow demon. At this moment, Shadow Fiend roared. Remove the seal! As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Zichen's voice fell. Inside his body. It was as if some seal had been broken. Next, an unimaginably terrifying aura emanated from the shadow demon's body. After sensing the aura inside shadow demon's body, Lin Feng's mind couldn't help but tremble slightly. That aura was truly too terrifying. Saint Realm. The shadow demon was actually a Saint Realm expert after the seal was broken. Although he wasn't a high-level Sage Realm cultivator, but he was still in the Saint Realm. Lin Feng guessed that the reason why Shadow Demon had placed a seal on him was related to this state of concealment. The aura of the Saint Realm was high and mighty. To cultivators who hadn't entered the Saint Realm, it could produce a kind of pressure that a higher-level life form could exert on a lower-level life form. Even if the aura of the Saint Realm expert was hidden, there was no guarantee that it wouldn't leak out. Who knew if there would be an unexpected situation? So, in order to completely ensure that the aura of the Saint Realm wouldn't leak out, the only way was to seal the realm. This method was indeed effective. Because Lin Feng's perception was so strong, he hadn't sensed any aura of this fellow before. This was enough to explain everything. Lin Feng knew that the current situation was a bit troublesome for him. Lin Feng didn't retreat but advanced instead. He quickly charged towards the shadow demon. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that the shadow demon had just been unsealed and had yet to stabilize himself to attack the shadow demon. If he could kill the shadow demon, that would be even better. Dark runes, protect me! The shadow demon's cold voice came out. Many dark runes actually appeared on the surface of his body. After seeing those dark runes, Lin Feng's face couldn't help but sink slightly. He felt that things were a bit troublesome. The next moment, Lin Feng's epic war spear stabbed onto the dark runes. Clang! A sonorous collision sound came out. Lin Feng's epic war spear couldn't pierce through the dark runes. The shadow demon revealed an incomparably ferocious expression and slapped towards Lin Feng across the air. Bang! That tyrannical power fiercely bombarded Lin Feng's body. Bearing the attack of the shadow demon, Lin Feng was blown away. Fortunately, Lin Feng took out the Dominator's armor in time to protect his body. Otherwise, it would really be quite troublesome. But even so, the remaining power still made Lin Feng's face pale. Weak! You're really too weak! The shadow demon looked at Lin Feng contemptuously, his eyes flashing with killing intent. When he unsealed, Lin Feng's 15-fold domineering magnetic field could only reduce the shadow demon's battle power by about 20%. In addition, the shadow demon's battle power greatly increased after the seal was unsealed. So, the current shadow demon was really too terrifying. The Saint Realm was the Saint Realm. No matter how weak a Saint Realm expert was, he still had incredible power. Even if this Saint Realm expert's battle power was suppressed, and his body was injured. However, he was still able to erupt with that kind of battle prowess that caused others to involuntarily be unable to help but burst forth with that kind of battle prowess that caused one to be involuntarily unable to help but couldn't help but be unable to erupt with that kind of battle prowess that caused one to be involuntarily unable to help but couldn't help but be unable to not erupt with that kind of battle prowess that caused one to involuntarily be unable to help but couldn't help but involuntarily erupt with that kind of battle prowess that caused one to involuntarily be unable to help but was unable to not erupt with that kind of battle prowess that caused one to involuntarily be unable to help? We still don't know who will win, Lin Feng responded with a sneer. He took out the Phoenix Shield. Kill! Lin Feng shouted in a low voice and attacked the shadow demon again. Shatter heaven and earth! The shadow demon shouted coldly. His hands fiercely slashed in the void. A dazzling light beam condensed. After feeling the power of that light beam, Lin Feng suddenly showed a horrified expression. Because that light beam was really too terrifying. It made Lin Feng feel a sense of horror. He couldn't imagine how terrifying the lethality of that light beam could cause. This was the attack of a Saint Realm expert. Lin Feng fully activated the Dominator's armor and the Phoenix Shield. He held the Phoenix Shield in his left hand and the Epic War Spear in his right hand. When the light beam slashed toward him, it fiercely hit the Phoenix Shield. The Phoenix Shield offset most of the power, and the rest was blocked by Lin Feng's Dominator's armor. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly became incomparably bright. The Phoenix Shield and the Dominator's armor completely neutralized the attack of a Saint Realm expert. The combined ability of these two defensive treasures was too freakish, wasn't it? Although the Shadow Demon couldn't fully exert his battle power because of his injuries. But even if he could fully exert his strength, Lin Feng felt that he couldn't break the defense of the Phoenix Shield and the Dominator's armor. Lin Feng was now like wearing a turtle shell. The opponent's attack couldn't break his defense at all. What was there to be afraid of? Lin Feng quickly attacked. He became one with the spear and stabbed toward the Shadow Demon. After seeing this scene, the Shadow Demon's face became extremely ugly. He couldn't break Lin Feng's defense. There was no need to fight this battle. The Shadow Demon turned around and fled. But just as he turned around, 36 bamboo swords had already attacked him. He couldn't escape. He couldn't retreat. The Shadow Demon hurriedly blocked the attack of the 36 bamboo swords. At this moment, Lin Feng attacked. Puff! Accompanied by the sound of flesh piercing through flesh. The war spear in Lin Feng's hand. It directly pierced through the Shadow Demon's chest. How could this be? The Shadow Demon looked at the spear tip that was still dripping blood in disbelief. He really couldn't believe that a Saint Realm expert like him actually died at the hands of an ant like Lin Feng. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.